My eyes snapped open to a boiling highway. The asphalt was so hot it scorched my skin. It had to be over 40 degrees outside. The last thing I remember was crashing on my couch after a brutal workday, scrolling through videos on my phone. Then everything went completely black, and I ended up right here. I forced myself up. My body was completely wrecked from years of endless desk work, and this suffocating heat made everything so much worse. I looked around and saw a straight 3-lane highway, stretching endlessly into nowhere in both directions. On both sides there was nothing but endless desert. No buildings, no plants, no people, just yellow sand and howling winds sweeping the area. The one end of the road faded far into the horizon. The other was swallowed by thick black fog, rolling slowly like a living, breathing creature. Just looking at it gave me chills. Then I noticed a weird silver bracelet on my left wrist. It wasn't there before, and I couldn't pull it off either. Suddenly the bracelet lit up, projecting a digital screen before my eyes with a terrifying message. The global highway race had just begun. Every single person on Earth between 16 and 50 was forced to participate. Death here is totally real and final. There are 0-second chances. The first 24 hours serve as a newbie protection period, where I am completely alone. Once that ends, the other players will finally appear. The rules clearly stated to stay away from the black fog. Stepping off the road into the sand is forbidden. Supplies are scattered ahead, and you must move before dark. I found a totally beat-up pickup truck parked right next to me, my starter vehicle. I climbed in and immediately started exploring the bracelet's features. There was a dedicated chat channel where I could see messages from other people in my exact region. Most of them were in absolute hysterics, crying and begging to go home. A very small handful tried staying calm to figure out what was happening. I quickly checked my personal stats. My physical points were only 8, but my mental points reached 13. I had an empty 10-slot inventory, and the truck held just 5 liters of fuel. Then came the talent draw. Players get a free random talent, ranging from normal up to silver tier. I spun the wheel and landed on silver, the absolute best possible outcome. My new talent was called Upgrade. It upgraded any item by 1 tier with a 100% success rate, 2 tiers at 20%, or 3 tiers at 0.01%. The cooldown took 7 whole days. Then a crazy thought hit me. The talent said it worked on any item. What if the talent itself counted as an item? Could I actually use Upgrade on the talent itself? I was pretty nervous. If things went south, I might lose the ability entirely or even hurt myself. The situation was just too desperate, so I took the risk. It actually worked. The system just confirmed that talents count as special items. I activated it and the result was insane, totally beyond my expectations. It jumped 3 whole tiers at once, reaching the legendary rank. My new talent was now called Rule Breaker. This ability lets me upgrade items 5 full times in a single day. The 100% chance for 1 tier, 30% for 2, and 5% for 3. It also guarantees a 3-tier jump once every 72 hours. Nothing can surpass the legendary tier, and it works exclusively on supplies, equipment, and engineering blueprints. After all that hype faded, I calmed down and faced bitter reality. I was completely dehydrated, low on energy, had 0 food or water, and only 5 liters of gas. This newbie protection period would end entirely in 24 hours, and after that, I'd have to deal with other players and face the first disaster. I gripped the wheel, started the engine, and the old truck roared to life. It had an automatic transmission and a push-to-start button, pretty damn sleek for such a total wreck. I stared hard at the endless road ahead and made my choice. Time to move. Checked my bracelet, 1220. Time to roll out. I drove slowly, keeping my speed low. My truck's top speed was 60 kilometers an hour, and with just 5 liters of fuel, I really couldn't risk wasting a single drop. The road stretched endlessly ahead of me. Barren black asphalt cutting through a massive yellow desert on both sides. No signs, no other cars, literally nothing at all. Just me and this dead silence. While driving, I kept one hand on the wheel and used the other to scroll the bracelet menus, desperately hunting for useful info. And my biggest fears are supplies. To water, food, fuel, and tools. I have absolutely nothing. Based on all the survival webtoons I've read, supplies should spawn somewhere along the road, maybe inside loot boxes or abandoned vehicles. But after driving for almost a kilometer, I didn't find a single thing. So I checked the regional chat once more. Everyone was still panicking hard. Someone's mom went looking for water and completely vanished. Another guy's car broke down right as he started it. The people were begging for help. Amid all this massive chaos, a few messages about talents actually caught my eye. Someone got a normal tier talent called Minor Self-Healing, and it was barely useful, his wounds still bled for a while anyway. Another player pulled Bronze tier Physical Enhancement and immediately felt noticeably stronger. Someone else scored Iron tier Water Sense to detect water within 50 meters, but it hadn't worked for them even once. So the pullable talent tiers are Normal, Bronze, Iron, and Silver at best. Meanwhile, my talent skipped from Silver all the way up to Legendary, entirely bypassing several unknown tiers. So what even comes after Silver? Gold or Epic? Nobody knows. And is legendary actually the true ceiling here? No answer so far. I also thought about my own vehicle. It is classed as level 1, which absolutely means there are upgrades for it. Higher speed, better fuel efficiency, and maybe some special features. But my ability prompt is clear. It only works on resources, gear, and blueprints, not vehicles. I need to find another way to upgrade this truck. I drove for a while before finally spotting something ahead. A dark gray metal crate sitting right in the middle of the road, roughly the size of a standard suitcase. I slowed down and parked about 5 meters away. I didn't jump out immediately. I watched from inside the cab for a full minute, checked every angle, every mirror. No people, no traps, nothing out of the ordinary. Just sand and an empty road. I stepped out, walked over, and touched the crate. My bracelet buzzed, flashing a prompt. Normal resource crate found. Open. But before doing that, an idea hit me. Could I use my ability to upgrade the loot box itself first? I tried, but got rejected. The crate didn't meet the upgrade conditions, so I just opened it. The metal glowed faintly, turned transparent, and shattered into tiny sparks of light. Instantly, my inventory updated with everything that was inside. 2 500-milliliter bottles of water, 2 100-gram blocks of compressed biscuits, a 50-gram pack of dried meat, a 130-gram chocolate bar, and 10 liters of gasoline, enough for another 100 kilometers. 5 items taking up half of my 10 inventory slots. The 3 biggest survival needs, water, food, and fuel, secured all at once. I finally let myself exhale a bit, climbed into the truck, leaned back, and shut my eyes for a few seconds of rest. Opening them again, I felt way more grounded. Finding this first drop meant more were ahead, but more loot also meant more unknowns, hazards, traps, maybe even other players. I shoved those thoughts aside, gently pressed the gas pedal, and kept driving forward. At a steady pace, around 50 kilometers an hour, saving fuel while staying on high alert. After that first supply crate, my nerves settled. I had provisions, and adding 10 liters of gas to my original 5 left me with about 13 liters, enough for nearly 130 kilometers. I didn't even bother opening the regional chat. It was probably still flooded with people screaming and begging for help. Doom scrolling through that wouldn't do me any good. Better to just focus on the road and hunt for more drops. About 20 minutes and 20 kilometers later, I spotted something on the right shoulder. Another metal crate, slightly smaller than the first, sitting at the base of a sand dune. This one had a faint bronze glow and way more detailed engravings carved into the surface. I stopped the truck, watched from inside for a bit, checked every direction. Nothing suspicious. I got out and touched the metal. The bracelet buzzed. Bronze resource crate found. Open. Bronze tier was exactly 1 level higher than the normal box from before. I opened it immediately. The crate dissolved into pure light just like last time. New items hit the inventory. A green rarity automatic crossbow with 10 bolts, 4 metal sports water bottles, 4 energy bars, and 2 vacuum-sealed cooked eggs. Better loot than the first drop, and more of it. That crossbow was the real prize though, my very first weapon. The stats called it a basic civilian model. Easy to use, average stopping power. Then an idea hit me. My legendary ability breaks rules when used on gear. Could I upgrade this crossbow? I focused hard and triggered the skill right on it. The bracelet flashed blue. The weapon evolved straight from green to blue rarity. New specs showed an expanded magazine, increased power, heavy damage against large monsters, and 20 bolts instead of 10. A massive upgrade. But getting a bit greedy, I tried casting the skill on it again to push the level even higher. Nothing happened. Absolutely zero response. So there was a rule. Each item can only be upgraded once. No stacking. I checked my daily uses, 4 out of 5 left, resetting at midnight. Every single charge could mean life or death, so I held on to the rest. Unless it was an absolute emergency, I wasn't wasting them on low-value junk. Better to wait and see what else I'd find on the road. The bronze crate didn't drop any extra fuel, which was a slight letdown, but my current tank was still fine. I took a small sip of water, tossed the crossbow onto the passenger seat for quick access, and pulled back onto the highway. Armed with a real weapon and enough supplies to last, I finally felt like I had a fighting chance. Back on the road, I started analyzing the spawn patterns. That first supply drop showed up after about 10 kilometers, sitting dead center in the lane. The second one took 20 kilometers, tucked off to the side by a dune. No clear logic. Random distances, random placements. The crates were about 40 centimeters wide. Not tiny, but pretty easy to miss in this heat-warped desert landscape. That was exactly why I refused to open the chat. Even a minor distraction could mean driving past a drop. Missing loot here basically meant a death sentence. I started wondering if supply boxes also spawned deep in the sand, off the road entirely. The bracelet gave clear warnings against leaving the highway, and I wasn't about to test what was hiding out there. In this world, playing it safe had to come first. Then it hit me. I had only been here for about an hour, but I felt more exhausted than a full day at the office. The constant vigilance, scanning the road, second-guessing every choice, it was draining my stamina fast. But weirdly enough, I felt a slight rush through all that exhaustion. Finding supplies just from being careful was pretty damn satisfying. Maybe deep down I always wanted something like this. I shook the thought away and focused. About 30 minutes and 20 kilometers later, another gray metal box caught my eye on the left side of the road. Just a standard box, exactly like the first one. Before stepping out, I dumped some gear in the back seat to free up space. The bracelet storage only holds 10 items. I grabbed my crossbow and headed over to open it. The loot was super basic. The pack of tissues, the lemon sports drink, the small lighter, and 3 metal blocks. Nothing too exciting, but those metal blocks definitely caught my attention. The bracelet said they could be used for later repairs or crafting. It might be important down the line, but fuel was the real issue. After 60 kilometers, the tank sat at 6 liters, barely enough for another 60. If I did not find gas soon, this truck was totally dead. I kept driving for about another hour, 40 more kilometers, hitting 100 total. My anxiety spiked. I was seriously considering slowing down to save gas, until something caught my eye. A faint white reflection out in the yellow sand, way off the road. It had that exact same cold metallic shine as the supply crates. Could it be another box, or something entirely different? I killed the engine and just stared for a while. It was too far away to make out clearly, but with fuel dropping and options fading fast, I made a choice. But whatever that unknown thing was, it was worth checking out. I took a deep breath, grabbed my crossbow, popped the door, and got ready to step onto the burning sand. But before taking a single step, I had to prep carefully. I shifted the 4 sports water bottles straight from the back seat into my bracelet storage. The water was the absolute most important thing. I left the food behind. Whatever was waiting out there, this truck was my lifeline. If things went sideways, I was turning right back, so I left the road and hit the sand. The second my boots hit the ground, searing pain shot through my soles. Walking was brutal. The soft sand swallowed my feet with every single step, like wading through thick mud. Every stride took a massive effort. Within minutes, I was completely drenched in sweat. Out here, there was no driving breeze. The heat locked around me like a cage. Every breath felt exactly like swallowing raw fire. The ground temp had to be over 50 degrees. I walked for 30 minutes but covered barely a kilometer. I stopped every now and then, leaning on the dunes to rest. I took tiny sips of water, never daring to drink too much. 20 minutes later, I finally reached the shiny object, about 1.5 kilometers off the road. That trek had taken almost 50 minutes. I was soaked, my legs felt like actual lead, and I could barely lift my arms. The second I touched it, seeing the system prompt made the exhaustion fade. Iron tier supply box discovered. Iron tier beats bronze. I opened it immediately, and the rewards inside made every painful step worth it. 20 liters of fuel, a luck pendant, and a whole vehicle engine. The gas alone solved my biggest crisis. I did not even stop to inspect everything. I needed to get back to the truck before totally collapsing. The return trip was brutal. My legs were basically screaming in pain. The heat and exhaustion blurred my vision. I was down to just 1 water bottle. I kept dragging myself forward on pure willpower, taking tiny sips, scanning for threats, forcing 1 foot forward. Only one thought kept me moving: I had to reach the truck. It took almost an hour to make it back. When I finally reached the truck, I practically collapsed into the driver's seat, totally drained. I could not even lift my hand. I just sat there panting for over 10 minutes before I could actually move again. I downed my last drops of water and wiped the gritty sweat off my face, and finally opened my inventory to check the loot. That engine was huge. If I could actually install it, that changes everything. But once I had rested up, I started going through the iron tier items one by one. I started with those 20 liters of fuel. I fed it straight into the tank using the bracelet. Between my leftovers and this new batch, I was practically swimming in gas again. The relief was huge. Next up, I checked the luck pendant. There's a blue quality vehicle accessory, meant to slightly boost the drop rates for better loot from supply boxes. Definitely a long-term investment. The more boxes I opened, the bigger the payoff. So I used a charge of my talent to upgrade it. The result genuinely shocked me. Instead of a single rank, it jumped 2 full tiers straight to gold quality. Now it massively boosted the odds for rare loot, and even gave a small chance to dodge low-tier threats entirely. I installed it instantly. The tiny gourd-shaped pendant materialized right by the dashboard. Then I checked the green quality vehicle engine. The description said it added 20 to speed and cut fuel consumption to % by 20%. This was clearly the most important item in the entire world. This truck was everything. My shelter, my transport, my absolute survival. I figured the early supply crates drop ready-made items on purpose. Nobody has the raw materials for crafting yet. I used another talent charge on the engine. It evolved to blue grade. The speed boost hit 40. Fuel efficiency jumped to 40% plus way better durability and a lower chance of breaking down. I installed it immediately. My vehicle stats fully refreshed. The truck's top speed went from 60 to 100 kilometers per hour, a massive upgrade. That left me with 2 talent charges today, totally worth it. The necklace and engine were absolutely worth the effort. I also reviewed everything learned from that desert run. The dunes hide high-tier supply crates, but reaching them is brutal. Extreme heat, exhausting terrain, and massive water consumption. My new rule going forward: stick to the road unless I desperately need rare supplies or fuel. I will only risk the sands when it is relatively safe. Steady survival always beats reckless gambles. I started the truck, hit the highway, and kept driving. With a full tank and a faster engine, I felt way more confident. I stayed completely alert, scanning the road and the dunes on both sides. One hand on the wheel, the other never leaving the crossbow. It was getting close to 4 p.m. I decided to speed up. The upgraded engine ran so smoothly now. Nothing like that loud junk from before. I pushed hard, cleared 100 kilometers in one go, and found 4 supply crates along the way. I wasted zero time. Stop, touch, open, loot, drive. Each crate vanished in seconds, sending everything straight into my inventory. By the time I popped the last crate open, it was nearly 6 p.m. The sun dropped fast, bleeding into a dark red smear on the horizon. Creeping shadows swallowed the desert, and the air turned freezing cold. Then my bracelet flashed with a sudden global announcement. Nightfall had officially begun. Visibility would only get worse, and night driving meant unknown risks. I was not pushing my luck. So I parked the truck right in the middle of the road and killed the engine. Then I used the last fading daylight to sort my daily loot. 2 common crates gave me basic supplies. 6 water bottles, 4 instant noodle packs, 2 compressed biscuits, and 3 pieces of cloth. The 2 bronze crates were way better. 8 more waters, 5 wrapped breads, 3 eggs, 12 metal blocks, 4 rubber scrap, 3 plastic pieces, and 10 liters of fuel. The fuel was a massive relief. It easily replaced everything I burned getting here. But the real prizes from those bronze crates were 2 extremely special items. First, a green-grade vehicle chassis blueprint. I could use it to build a sturdier frame, boosting the truck's durability and total weight capacity. It cost 20 metal blocks, 5 rubber, and 5 plastic. I checked my inventory: 15 metal, 4 rubber, and only 3 plastic pieces left. Not quite enough yet. I considered upgrading the blueprint, but hesitated a moment. If the upgrade also increased the crafting cost, I would be completely stuck. I also wondered what happens if I upgraded the blueprint first before crafting. Could I upgrade the final product again? That would be insanely overpowered. I couldn't test any of that without enough materials anyway, so I just shelved the blueprint for later. Second, green-grade tempered glass to replace all the busted truck windows. I did not hesitate, as all the truck was my only shelter, especially at night. The window protection was critical. I used my talent on it immediately. It upgraded to blue-grade crystallized bulletproof glass. The description said it was insanely tough and could even insulate against extreme outside temperatures. I installed it instantly. The old cracked windows vanished, replaced by solid clear glass fitting perfectly into the frames. Touching it, I could clearly feel the heavy thickness and durability. That burned my 3rd talent charge for the day, leaving me with only 1 left. I moved all my water and food right behind the driver's seat for easier access later on. Sitting in the truck behind those new bulletproof windows, I felt truly safe. I stared at the darkening sky, wondering, was my loot drop actually good compared to other survivors? Was I just lucky, or was that golden luck necklace already doing its job? I leaned back in the driver's seat, way too wired to even try sleeping. The night had fallen, and the system claimed staying inside the vehicle was the safest bet. No driving. No stepping out. My body was completely wrecked after 6 straight hours of non-stop driving. My brain refused to shut off. Since I was stuck here anyway, I figured I should use the time to gather some solid intel. The one comforting thought: my parents were both over 50, safely outside the age bracket for this deadly game. They were safe. I was alone in this, but at least I didn't have to worry about them. I opened global chat. It's absolute chaos. Messages flew past so fast I could barely read them. More than 90% were just terrified people screaming for help. After a few minutes, I closed it. Totally useless. Regional chat was better. Everyone was capped at 3 messages a day, cutting down the spam. Still, with 100,000 players stuck in one zone, it was a massive text wall. I scrolled the feed carefully. Some people were begging for food and water. Others hadn't even left their cars all day. They didn't even step out to scavenge for supplies. Unbelievable. Maybe these guys just haven't accepted reality yet. They won't last long. Others were more practical and dropped some solid tips. Just drive down the road to find supply crates. Touch them to open. Stay inside at night. Pretty obvious rules, but helpful for clueless rookies. A few players were already talking about teaming up once the 24-hour newbie phase ends. Some guys showed off their talents to attract girls, bragging about iron rank, offering protection and free food. So predictable. Talent discussions caught my eye the most. Most players got stuck with common rank. Iron was uncommon, and bronze was extremely rare. Nobody even mentioned silver rank. One guy griped that his bronze mental alert talent was totally useless since nothing came near them all day. After scrolling for over an hour, I noticed a crucial detail. Not a single person mentioned pulling blueprints, reinforced glass, or any special gear from their crates. Most only found food, water, and common materials. Even the lucky ones who scored bronze crates just got slightly better versions of the same basic loot. Nobody mentioned dropping a single green quality item. That was when it hit me. My haul today was absolutely top tier, but I also realized the smart players would never broadcast their actual inventory. They lurked in the channel for hours without posting anything. Why show your cards in a brutal survival game? But one thing did puzzle me: the trading system remained locked. Zero private messages, and every single post was completely anonymous. No names anywhere. But would these features unlock after the 24-hour newbie phase ends? Or did they need some specific trigger to activate? No way to know right now. I closed the chat and stared into the pitch black night through my new bulletproof windows. I felt pretty calm now. I had a solid read on everyone's situation, and I was clearly miles ahead. Next steps: keep grinding for supplies, secure enough materials to upgrade the chassis, and prep for whatever disaster hits next. But once the newbie phase ended at 8:30 p.m., I was absolutely wiped out. 6 hours of driving and scavenging, plus 2 hours scanning the chats. I desperately wanted to crash, but I still had 2 talent charges left today. They reset right at midnight, so skipping them now meant wasting free stats. I didn't have any solid gear to upgrade, just basic loot, so I grabbed a standard bottle of water and used my talent without hesitating. Jumped up 1 rank to green quality. The description said it quickly wiped out fatigue and slowly regenerated mental energy over an hour. Pretty awesome. But burning a precious talent charge on plain water still felt like a waste. I pulled out 1 last bottle for my final charge. This time I hit the jackpot. It skipped 2 ranks straight to blue quality. The water morphed into something called a physical enhancer. The description made my pulse race. It permanently raised my base physical stat by a full point. No hard limit on how many you can drink, though only 1 bottle per quality tier works daily. Permanent stat points from a simple bottle of water. All my regret instantly vanished. Mythic talent was absolutely broken, and this was just a blue quality drop. What on earth would higher tiers do? I chugged it immediately. The warm current rushed through my entire body. My limbs tingled, and the heavy exhaustion washed away. I instantly pulled up my stats screen. My physical stat ticked up from 8 to 9. My aching arms and legs actually felt stronger. A single point made a massive difference. I considered activating my second ability, the one forcing a 3-rank jump with a 72-hour cooldown on the vehicle chassis blueprint. But I lacked the materials. Upgrading it now would be pointless. Is it better to wait until tomorrow and see if I score something more valuable? Either way, I was triggering that ability tomorrow no matter what. The sooner I cast it, the sooner the cooldown timer started ticking down. I kicked my seat back and finally crashed. A while later, a violent shaking tore me out of my sleep. I snatched my crossbow and checked the time. 12:30 a.m. Pitch black outside. Absolutely no light anywhere, not even inside the cabin. The only glow came from my wristband display. The truck kept rocking, gently at first, then violently, backed by muffled thuds against the metal. Something out there was hitting my vehicle. My heart hammered, but I forced myself to remember the system rules. But we were still in the newbie phase. If hiding in our cars wasn't actually safe, nearly everyone would die on night 1. I took a deep breath and gripped my crossbow. I pressed my back against the seat, staring into the pitch-black windows. I wasn't moving. Whatever was out there had to break bulletproof glass first. Barely slept at all. The truck shook until morning with weird scraping outside, but absolutely nothing breached the cabin. I sat there half asleep, white-knuckling my crossbow until the sky finally began to lighten. 6 a.m., the system announced the night was over and wished us a pleasant journey. Checked regional chat. Everyone was completely freaking out over last night. But the real shock? That population counter in the corner. Down from 100,000 to 93,632. Over 6,000 dead in one night. Probably the ones who abandoned their cars. A brutal reminder that this survival game is dead serious. Only 6 hours left in the novice phase. Come afternoon, other players will show up. My absolute last chance to safely grind. I hit the gas right away, eating a boiled egg with my eyes glued to the road ahead. But for a solid hour and 50 kilometers, nothing. Not a single supply box in sight. Then finally, a metallic gleam right in the middle of the road. An iron tier supply box. Inside was a level 1 vehicle upgrade blueprint, a white tier combat knife, plus 5 metal blocks, 5 rubber, and 5 plastic. That blueprint was massive. It laid out exactly what I needed to get my truck from level 1 to 2. Level 2 engine already installed. Level 2 glass pre-installed. Level 2 frame, nope, not yet. Suddenly it all made total sense. So that engine and bulletproof glass I upgraded yesterday were the prerequisites for a level 2 vehicle this whole time. Just needed the frame, and I already had that blueprint from yesterday. Time to check my materials. Combining today's loot with yesterday's stash gave me the exact amount required. 20 metal blocks, 5 rubber, and 5 plastic. Absolutely perfect. I almost upgraded the blueprint using my talent first, but stopped myself. Higher tier blueprints probably require way more materials, and that would completely stall me. Better to craft the thing first, then upgrade the final product afterward. I crafted the frame, then instantly hit it with my talent. It jumped a whole rank straight to blue tier. A high-strength alloy frame packing major buffs to defense, durability, and even stability. So, yeah, this was definitely good enough. I installed it. Then the entire truck transformed right in front of me. The rust, scratches, and dents vanished completely. The exterior smoothed out into a crisp white finish. Inside, those worn-out seats actually felt firm and solid. The dashboard tightened up. Everything looked practically brand new. With all three components locked in, I triggered the Level 2 vehicle upgrade. The game system locked the vehicle in place, while a progress bar filled all the way up. The second it hit 100%, the stats flashed. Standard Level 2 truck, max speed, 120 kilometers per hour, all three blue components officially listed. And as a sweet bonus, the system handed me 50 liters of fuel just for hitting Level 2. The truck didn't look much different, but that max speed jumped to 120, and it could finally support advanced mods. I was hyped. I was pretty damn sure nobody else in the game had reached this milestone yet. My current setup was incredibly solid. Plenty of food and water, the weapon, loads of fuel, the gold tier luck pendant, and a level 2 vehicle. I was actually getting excited for whatever was coming next. If I managed to find a blue tier item today and used my talent to jump it up 3 full ranks, I might get something way past gold quality. Honestly, I didn't even know what came after gold. I was itching to find out. I cooled off after that level 2 upgrade and got moving again. There were only about 4 hours left in the novice phase. Just a few kilometers down, another iron tier box was sitting right on the shoulder. Last time, I practically killed myself trekking across a desert for one of these. And now here it was, just chilling by the road. I opened up the regional chat to see what was happening. Sure enough, people were saying bronze boxes were spawning way more often today. It seemed the game was actively boosting drop rates for day 2. I glanced at that white tier combat knife I grabbed earlier and decided not to waste a talent charge on it. Even if I bumped it to green, it was still just a basic weapon. Better to save my charges for food or car parts that actually boost my survival odds. I did notice a pattern with the item tiers. Normal is level 1, green is level 2. Blue takes level 3. That makes my gold luck pendant level 5. But I had absolutely no clue what level 4 looked like, let alone anything beyond gold. Roughly 20 kilometers later, I hit a massive crossroads. 2 identical 3-lane highways, splitting off in completely different directions. No street signs, no markers, absolutely nothing to tell them apart. So while I sat there wondering which route to take, that gold luck pendant on the dash started glowing. I got a heavy gut feeling. Go right. Zero logic behind it. This pure, raw instinct pushing from the pendant. I trusted it and swerved right. Then, for 2 solid hours and over 100 kilometers, I found absolutely nothing. Not a single supply box of any kind. I was starting to lose my mind over that pendant. Food and water were getting low and the novice phase was almost over. I muttered under my breath, if I don't find something by noon, I am smashing this stupid thing to pieces. Then, right at the exact second I was about to turn around, a metallic gleam caught my eye. This box was completely different. Way bigger, giving off a silver-white glow with sharper details than anything I had seen yet. My tracker bracelet confirmed it. The silver tier supply box. Inside were exactly 4 items. First, a blue tier energy core vehicle mod that completely replaces standard fuel, powering a level 2 vehicle for a full 24 hours on just 1 charge. Plus a green tier air conditioning blueprint that only needed 2 metal blocks, the 1 plastic piece and a single chunk of rubber to craft. Plus a box holding 12 instant noodle cups and 5 water bottles. The stash isn't massive, but the quality is exactly what I need. That energy core cured my long-term fuel anxiety, and the AC blueprint will finally kill the unbearable heat inside this truck. I looked down at the necklace, feeling slightly guilty for cursing it. It just led me straight to the best loot box yet. I held the energy core staring closely, a small blue sphere about the size of a pool ball. The system asked if I wanted to install it, but I refused. I planned to use my special talent ability on it first. The 3-tier jump has a 72-hour cooldown, but I still had some time before noon. If I found something better, I would use the skill on that instead. Otherwise, this energy core was my main target. The vehicle is my biggest asset, and power is its absolute lifeblood. Whatever I decided, it had to serve the truck. So first things first, checking out that AC blueprint. It required 2 metal blocks, 1 plastic piece, and some rubber. I had the plastics, but building the chassis drained all my metal. I desperately needed to find more. I sorted all my supplies, stacking food and water in the flat cargo bed out back. The upgraded level 2 truck looked totally brand new inside, but the rear was seatless. Just bare metal flooring, which was absolutely perfect for storage. Less than 1 hour until the beginner phase ends. Every passing second mattered. About 30 minutes later, I spotted a normal supply box. Inside were 5 metal blocks, white tier goggles, and a box of chocolate bars. Those metal blocks were exactly what I needed. I actually started believing that Golden Luck necklace was working. I crafted the AC unit right away. Green quality adjustable from 16 to 30 degrees, packing both cooling and fan modes. The only downside, fuel consumption went up 10%. I thought about upgrading it with my talent, but held off. A luxury item wasn't worth burning a precious charge, especially when I could boost my real survival stats instead. The next 20 minutes gave me absolutely nothing, not one single box. It was creeping close to midday. I parked the truck right on the road and pulled out the energy core, that blue tier sphere from the silver box. This was exactly what I saved my second talent for. The 3-tier jump with a 72-hour cooldown. The energy core was already blue quality, meaning tier 3. 3 tiers higher would shove it straight to tier 6, completely skipping gold. I focused hard and activated the ability. The result left me breathless. Blue jumped 3 massive tiers into orange quality. The core mutated to act like a vehicle nuclear reactor. Stable, absolutely limitless energy. No more need for fuel. I stared at the text, my hands literally shaking. All that fuel anxiety, the paranoid rationing, the fear of running dry. It all vanished in a flash. One single item solved my biggest highway survival problem. Orange quality. I never even knew a tier like that existed until now. I sat there clutching that faintly glowing orange sphere, my heart hammering as I tried to process it. Then my bracelet chimed. High noon had struck. The real highway survival game had officially begun. Beginner phase was over. Right at 12, system announcements started flooding in all at once. The tutorial was a thing of the past. Extreme heat mode was active. Temperatures would steadily climb for 7 straight days, until the next phase hit. Brand new features unlocked. A daily 3-trade barter system, a friends list with private messaging, and a toggle to share or hide personal data. And most importantly, certain roads would now cross paths with other players, and the monsters would spawn. I was taking all this in when I noticed something weird on my wrist. The clock vanished, replaced by a red 3-minute countdown, already ticking past 2. No time to think. The heat was already brutal, nearing 40 degrees Celsius. If this wasn't even the extreme heat phase yet, things were about to get much worse. I grabbed the green quality AC and fired off my talent immediately. That 30% chance for a double tier jump triggered again. The AC spiked straight to purple. The temperature range sweeping from 12 to 32 degrees. Rapid cooling and heating, plus instant digital readouts for inside and outside. The built-in air purification, but energy consumption increased by 15%. I actually laughed at that part. I owned a nuclear reactor with infinite juice now. A tiny AC unit wouldn't even make a dent. I installed it immediately. The icy air flooded the cabin the second I flipped the switch. After a day and a half of choking heat, that breeze was absolute heaven. I sealed all the windows tight and locked it at a solid 25 degrees. Then I watched the countdown hit 0. Everything blurred for a split second, like space itself was folding around me. When my vision finally cleared, the outside world had entirely changed. So that endless yellow desert was completely gone. The highway was still straight, but dark green bushes now lined the shoulders, with scattered trees dotting the horizon. The landscape was still wide open, but now it held signs of actual life. I checked the temperature screen. Inside 25, outside 28, just 28. That was cooler than before, but the system promised the heat would only climb. This peace is temporary. In a few days, this place will probably become a living hell. Open the regional chat right away. New map, different rules, the monsters and other players. I had to know what everyone else was dealing with. The regional chat was flooded with a non-stop stream of messages. People asking for survivors, begging for fuel, questioning the map change. The terrain had completely shifted for absolutely everyone. The wasteland turned into a grassy field with scattered trees. Most were panicking over fuel shortages and incoming monsters. Skimmed past the chat, went straight to check out the new trading system. I wanted to see if anyone was selling decent gear or blueprints. But the trading board was a massive letdown. 7 out of 9 listings were just food and water, all demanding fuel in return. Fuel was now the most critical survival resource for almost everyone except me, of course. I filtered for weapons first. Everything on display was complete junk. The white tier wooden clubs, rusty iron blades, and basic tactical knives just like mine. Not a single green tier weapon, let alone firearms. It made sense though. Nobody in their right mind would ever trade a good weapon. In a real survival scenario, a weapon is your only lifeline. Only useless trash ends up on the market. Then I searched for blueprints. Out of 100,000 people here, there were fewer than 100 listed. The drop rate of less than 0.1%. Mostly worthless household stuff. A wooden table design, a small storage box, totally useless survival items. But one thing actually caught my eye, a mini fridge blueprint. The white tier, cheap materials. But it needed a stable power source and increased fuel consumption by 5%. The other players would completely ignore it because of the energy drain. But with my nuclear reactor, power was limitless. I made a mental note and kept scrolling, then I spotted it. A reinforced SUV tire blueprint, green tier. It would upgrade my truck tires to high-strength rubber. It slightly improved puncture and wear resistance, and added 10 to top speed. The seller wanted 50 liters of fuel. That was a huge ask. Before the reactor, that was my entire stockpile. But now gas was just dead weight taking up space. Trading unneeded fuel for a tire upgrade was a total no-brainer. I messaged the seller, offered 20 liters instead, and moved on without waiting for a reply. I checked my remaining materials. 3 metal blocks, 3 plastic, and 2 rubber. Not a lot. Food and water were fine, but I seriously needed more raw materials. I started driving. The engine hummed softly, backed by literally infinite energy. No fuel gauge to stress over, no fear of running out. Meanwhile, I glanced down at the temperature reading. It had already climbed from 28 to 29 degrees in under an hour. The extreme heat event was barely getting started. If it kept rising like this for 7 days, the heat would hit lethal levels. 50 degrees or more would easily kill anyone without protection. I sealed the windows tight, set the AC to 25 degrees, and hit the road. I felt perfectly fine. Most survivors had no AC, no power, and vanishing fuel. The heat alone was going to wipe out so many people. I just kept cruising down the road, perfectly comfortable in my upgraded truck with an endless energy supply, thinking about trading for that mini fridge blueprint just for comfort. I almost totally forgot this was a death game. For over an hour I found nothing, not a single supply box. I slowed down from 70 to 50 kilometers per hour, worried I was driving too fast. Finally, around 3 p.m., I spotted a gray metal crate under a dead tree. It sat about 50 meters off the left side of the road. But there was one problem. A wolf rested right beside the box, and not a normal one. This thing was larger than a tiger, packed with thick gray fur and massive claws. I am a 30-year-old office worker. I had never killed anything in my life, not even a chicken. This genuinely terrified me. My first instinct was to drive closer, but the system flashed an immediate warning. The vehicles cannot leave the road without triggering a heavy penalty, so driving up to grab the box was completely off the table. Then I remembered my crossbow. Blue tier, massive damage against large monsters. I could shoot from the car through a tiny crack in the window. Even if I missed, the bulletproof glass kept me safe. I rolled down a small gap, aimed carefully, and took the shot. I hit the tree, fired 5 more times, missed every single one. I was losing my mind. I had never shot a weapon before. On the 7th try, the arrow finally sank right into its back. Blood splattered everywhere. The wolf howled in pure rage and charged at my truck. It slammed into the doors. Claws screeched against the metal, rocking the entire vehicle. I forced myself to stay calm, waited for an opening, and fired. Hit its stomach. But the beast kept attacking. Suddenly it leaped and swiped at the gap. A claw caught my arm, and I started bleeding. Gritting my teeth through the pain, I waited until it hit the ground, aimed at its eye and fired. Direct hit. The wolf shrieked, convulsed, then dropped dead. I waited 20 minutes to ensure it was dead. Then I collapsed into my seat, shaking completely. My heartbeat hammered in my ears. The scratch on my arm wasn't deep, but it bled heavy. I won, but that fight was a brutal wake-up call. I got way too cocky. Easy upgrades, great loot, and endless energy. I started treating this whole thing like some easy video game. But that wolf just reminded me I am just a regular guy with 0 actual combat skills. To one wrong move and I was dead. I stepped out, grabbed the supply box without even opening it, and hurried straight back to the truck. I figured I would open it later when things felt safer. Then I noticed the wolf corpse. When I reached out, my bracelet asked to dismantle it. I muttered to myself that this really was just a game and hit confirm. I received 80 units of green tier wolf meat, so eating it slowly restores stamina and mental energy. That was nearly 80 pounds of solid food, all from one terrifying encounter. I sat inside the truck, staring at the empty field. Blood dripped from my arm, while the meat waited in my storage. So right then I made a vow. I would never be that careless again. I had to survive this and live better than anyone else out here. I relaxed into the cool AC of my truck, letting my pulse finally settle after that brutal wolf fight. My arm stung, but it was time to check my loot. First up, the wolf meat. 80 units of green tier food. I remembered how upgrading a regular water bottle to blue tier gave me a permanent 1-point boost to my physical stats. If I could do that with the meat, it would be massive. But before that, I turned my attention to the supply box I dragged from under that tree. I wiped off the dust and blood, noticing a silver-white glow around its edges. A silver tier box. The risk actually paid off. Inside were 3 items. Another blue tier energy core, a green tier shadow bullet pistol with a 15-round magazine, and some white tier all-purpose seasoning powder good for 50 uses. That pistol made me freeze. A real firearm. In this twisted world of monsters and desperate survivors, a gun changes everything. The crossbow was decent, but heavy and kind of hard to aim. So having this pistol meant I could finally defend myself in close quarters combat. I already used 2 of my talent charges today on the chassis and AC. 3 left. I decided to burn 2 now and save the last one. I used my talent on the gun. That 30% chance for a double jump triggered again. It shot from green straight to purple tier. The shadow blade morphed into the ghost pistol, purple tier, with an advanced silencer. It held 15 rounds and regenerated 1 bullet every single hour. Endless ammo. The reload speed was slow, but I would literally never run out of bullets. Next up, I upgraded a single unit of wolf meat. It jumped 1 rank to blue tier, transforming into fortified wolf meat. The effect. Eating 1 unit permanently increases physical stats by 1 point. Limit is 1 per day, but with absolutely no lifetime cap. I had 80 units, 80 straight days of boosting my physical stats. My current physical points were only at 9, slightly below the normal adult average of 10. But with this meat, I could completely shatter normal human limits. Unfortunately, my talent only upgrades 1 unit at a time, so I have to spend 1 charge every day on the meat, a pretty small price to pay. That seasoning powder was an awesome bonus too. 50 use is perfect for cooking up wolf meat. I checked the time, it was 4:20 p.m. I had been sitting there for over an hour. Outside, the temperature hit 35 degrees, a solid 7-degree jump since I entered this zone. At this rate, that 7-day heat wave was going to become truly lethal. I fired up the engine and drove. My arm throbbed with pain every time I turned the steering wheel, but it kept me sharp. This injury was worth every single drop of blood. I laid the new ghost pistol on the passenger seat and shoved the crossbow in back. "Sorry, old friend," I whispered. "Times have changed," I joked to myself. Holding a real gun made everything feel different. It gave me total confidence and complete control. Over the next 2 hours, supply boxes started spawning way more frequently. Within just about 20 minutes, I spotted my very first one. A regular tier box holding frozen dumplings, a self-heating rice meal, a 12-pack of cola, and 5 metal blocks. The cola and dumplings almost made me cry tears of joy. 2 whole days of compressed biscuits and plain water had totally wrecked my taste buds. And finally, actual food and a cold drink. I promised myself a proper dinner tonight. A grilled wolf meat with rice and an ice-cold cola. The boxes just kept showing up. By 5:40 p.m. I had tracked down 4 boxes total, all regular rank, holding mostly basic supplies. That steady flow was pretty reassuring. My total haul included 6 electronic components, some flour, 12 bottles of water, 3 pieces of glass, 10 metal blocks, 5 pieces of rubber, and a cookware set. New materials were finally showing up. Glass and electronics were probably going to be crucial for future crafting. That cookware set was literally just some pots, bowls, chopsticks, and a fork. Nothing fancy, but at least I could properly cook that wolf meat now. Though my inventory was getting pretty cramped with only 10 slots available, so I pulled all the raw materials straight out of storage. The second they came out, they automatically compressed into tiny little cubes. Some kind of built-in compression tech. Very cool. I stacked everything on the back seat, freeing up space for whatever I found next. By 5:45, I needed a place to crash. No buildings, no safe zones, just roads slicing through an endless stretch of brush and wilderness. Finding a spot with perfect visibility, I parked my truck dead center on the highway, killed the engine, leaving just the AC running. Cracked open a cola. That cold fizzy bite hit my throat, completely washing away the long day's exhaustion. Check the temp. 24 degrees inside, 40 outside. The sun was setting, yet the heat kept climbing. Pretty unsettling stuff. And something weird happened. 6 o'clock passed, then 6:10, and the system never announced nightfall. The sky didn't darken like yesterday either. I could still see the road perfectly. I checked the regional chat. Everyone was totally confused. No darkness, no system warning. A few players guessed tonight might actually be safe. Others thought the rookie phase had babied us with warnings. From here on out, this sick game would stop telling us when danger was coming. That second theory made sense to me. The real survival game was probably starting now. Fewer hints, zero guidance, and way bigger threats. So we had to figure things out ourselves now. With my pistol on the passenger seat and plenty of supplies, I decided to do something I hadn't done since arriving. Cook a real meal. Grabbing my rifle, I scanned the area for monsters, then gathered dry branches from the roadside brush. It was 40 degrees out with scorching ground, but I didn't care. After 2 days of hardtack and plain water, I desperately needed this. I diced the blue-grade wolf meat using my tactical knife, seasoned it with all-purpose spice powder, and started roasting it directly over the fire. I also prepped a self-heating rice meal. 30 minutes of sweating in that killer heat later, I had perfectly roasted meat, crispy on the outside, tender inside, and dripping with juices. I grabbed everything and bolted back to my air-conditioned truck like I was escaping a sauna. Sitting in 24-degree comfort, eating hot roast meat with rice. That contrast made it the best meal of my life. While eating, I checked my messages. The tire blueprint seller had just replied. After some back and forth, we settled on 30 liters of fuel instead of my initial 20. The seller also asked if I'd trade fuel again later, and I agreed. Building a solid business relationship could be extremely useful. I got the reinforced off-road tire blueprint with enough materials to craft it instantly. Then I used my talent. It instantly jumped a rank to blue-grade durable, explosion-proof off-road tires. Immune to normal punctures and cuts, resistant to small firearms, and reducing temperature effects, all while adding 30 to speed. I installed them immediately. My truck's top speed jumped to 150 kilometers per hour. The full loadout looks incredible now. A gold luck pendant, a blue engine, blue bulletproof glass, a blue alloy chassis, the blue explosion-proof tires, the purple AC, and an orange nuclear reactor. This probably hits the Tier 3 upgrade requirements already. All I need now is the upgrade blueprint itself. I also bought a mini fridge blueprint from another trader for just 10 liters of fuel. The guy agreed instantly. Nobody else wanted an item that drained power when everyone desperately needed fuel, but energy meant absolutely nothing to me. The fridge blueprint was white grade, so I upgraded it instantly. It jumped one rank to green, becoming a 10-slot cold storage for food and drinks, costing 10% more power. I haven't crafted it yet though. I had a theory to test out. If I upgrade the blueprint first, then craft the item, can I upgrade the finished product again? If the answer is yes, that would be incredibly overpowered. But I'm short on materials right now, so I shelved it for later. So by 8 p.m. my tasks were done. I sat back, cleaned my pistol, and waited for nightfall. The sky hadn't darkened like yesterday. Still no system warning either. For whatever was coming tonight, I was ready, armed, well-fed, and way more protected than almost anyone else. Night fell, and the road vanished into pitch-black darkness. I could hear things moving in the brush. Keeping my gun close, I opened the regional chat. A friend request popped up from the player who sold me the tire blueprint. Her name was Su Wan Wan. I accepted. Having a reliable trading partner was genuinely valuable. She thanked me for the swap. I told her I'd buy more blueprints if she had them. Then she said something that caught my attention. She could consistently find blueprints inside her supply crates. She offered me first pick of all her future blueprints, provided I kept trading her fuel. That was an absolutely massive deal. Blueprints are rare. Less than 1 in 1,000 players had any to trade. That steady supply would accelerate my upgrades immensely. I agreed instantly. Thanks to the reactor, fuel is worthless to me. Swapping it for blueprints is pure profit. After a quick chat, I closed the messages. The cooperation was great, but I wasn't dropping my guard around anyone. Trust is earned very slowly in this death game. By midnight, absolutely nothing had happened. No shaking, no monsters, no sounds. I was starting to wonder if tonight really was safe, when a panicked private message popped up. The monsters were attacking Swanwan's car, and she had 0 weapons. Begging for help, offering her next blueprint, pleading desperately. I actually hesitated. She was just some stranger from a random trade. Risking my precious gear for someone I barely knew totally violated every basic survival instinct out here. But in return, she could guarantee a steady flow of blueprints. That green-grade tire blueprint she sold me was seriously rare. If she died now, my supply chain would completely dry up. I made my choice in seconds. I grabbed the blue tier crossbow, the one gathering dust, since I got the pistol, packed up the remaining 10 arrows, and sent it all to her for absolutely nothing. No strings attached. Just take the damn crossbow. Save your shots and aim carefully. I hit send. That was honestly all I could do. The rest was up to her. About 15 minutes later, a message. She actually killed the beast. Barely survived, but she pulled it off. She thanked me over and over in voice notes completely choked with tears and massive gratitude. I did not really care. The weapon was gathering dust anyway. Keeping my main blueprint supplier breathing was just a very solid investment. After that dead silence all night, I stayed awake a bit longer, pistol gripped tight, but sleep finally dragged me under. When I opened my eyes, morning light was already back. Another night survived. Woke up at 5:40 a.m. feeling surprisingly incredible. No stiff muscles at all, not a single ache in my back. Even after crashing on a car seat, my body felt light and fully energized, way better than any morning in my past life. That physical stat boost was totally real. I checked my stats. Physique bumped from 9 up to 10, thanks to last night's grind in that wolf meat. Finally hit the baseline for a normal adult guy. If things keep scaling like this, I will blow right past human limits. I stepped out to check the truck. Not a single scratch. The dirt around it was spotless. No blood, no claw marks, 0 signs of anything getting close during the night. That was weird. Swanwan got attacked. The regional chat was flooded with people describing monster attacks. Our local population dropped by over 10,000 overnight, plunging from 90,000 down to just above 80,000. A massive 10% death rate in a single night, and yet nothing even touched my ride. I figured the danger evasion effect from my lucky gold necklace kept me safe, though I could not prove it. Either way, no room for arrogance. The chat felt incredibly grim. People were desperately begging for weapons and meds, outright mourning friends whose profile icons had just turned gray. Someone figured out that green tier monster meat could actually heal wounds. That perfectly matched my own experience. That nasty scratch on my arm completely closed up overnight. In a world basically running on empty for meds, monster meat was a straight-up magic potion. Then Swanwan randomly messaged me. She wanted to return the crossbow I sent over last night. I quietly thought about it for a few seconds. That crossbow was completely useless to me, but for her, a total civilian with 0 combat skills. It was the literal line between life and death. If she died, I would lose my single most reliable source for blueprints. This was never about being a good guy. It was an investment. I said keep it, but she protested, claiming it was too valuable to accept for absolutely nothing. So I laid out my terms right there. That crossbow was my personal investment in keeping her breathing. In exchange, I get first dibs on any high-tier blueprints she finds at market price, plus 1 extra matching blueprint as her final payment for the weapon. She agreed instantly, promising to always ping me first whenever a new blueprint dropped. A solid deal all around, she gets protection. I secure a steady blueprint pipeline. Total win-win, but by 6 in the morning, the outside temperature had already hit 32 degrees. Yesterday we did not see 40 until late afternoon. This heat wave was accelerating insanely fast. I fired up the engine, ready to move out. Just another supply run, but the clock was ticking down fast before this whole world became a roasting oven. By 6 a.m., the outside temperature was already hitting 35 degrees, and it kept climbing rapidly. The ground was literally shimmering with heat waves. I felt incredibly thankful for that purple tier AC unit, keeping my cabin freezing cold. I spent the entire morning hunting for supply crates, wound up finding 3-1 normal and 2 bronze tier boxes. Mostly just basic stuff, but the real trend was fuel. Almost every single box dropped fuel, 10 units, then 20, then 10 more. Adding up my stash, I now held 40 units of tradable fuel. At the time, I honestly thought the system was just feeling generous. I completely missed the real reason. Right around noon, the system dropped a massive bombshell. The speed race was officially starting. Every participant would now face system-generated enemy units. Attack power would scale dynamically based on vehicle level and total player count. Kill enemies to earn special racing treasure chests. The regional chat instantly exploded with massive panic. People barely surviving the heat were now actively hunted prey. It all suddenly clicked. That morning fuel was just a setup. The system gave us extra gas just so we could try escaping later. Then I checked my rearview mirror. 5 black motorcycles, locked in a tight attack formation, speeding right toward me at max throttle. The riders wore shredded leather armor, swinging heavy metal chains, steel pipes, sharp machetes, and deadly Molotov cocktails. Their faces were twisted and completely blank. Less like humans, more like mindless dolls built strictly for murder. Honestly, those Molotovs worried me the most. I slammed the pedal down. At 100 kilometers an hour, I lost them easily. Their bikes topped out at 70, just a level 1 truck speed. But I couldn't just run forever. After a 2-hour chase, I decided to fight. I had exactly 15 bullets left. My aim was garbage, but I had to try. I dropped my speed from 100 to 80. The bikes closed in. 50 meters out, they started hurling Molotovs at my truck. The glass just shattered against my blue tier chassis. 0 damage. Perfect, the armor held up fine. So when the lead bike pulled beside me, I locked my arm, aimed at his chest, and fired. The one shot. He flew off his bike, rolling into the bushes. I waited for the others. 2 more bikes instantly pushed forward. I fired 3 quick shots. The bikes collided, flipping across the road. The last 2 charged together. I fired twice more. 1 bike crashed, the other erupted into a fireball. 15 bullets gone. All 5 riders dead. The speed event was cleared. Reward 1 special race treasure chest. The bodies and bikes suddenly vanished. A dark gold chest with intricate carvings dropped onto the road. I grabbed it, climbed back inside my truck, and opened it immediately. Inside were 3 key items. A green tier marksmanship skill book, and a level 1 vehicle upgrade blueprint. Duplicate but good for trading. And finally, an iron tier talent fragment. Just sat there catching my breath. My hands were still shaking from the adrenaline. 15 bullets, 5 kills, 0 waste. Not bad for an office drone who had never touched a gun until yesterday. I immediately started checking the 3 rewards from the race chest. First, the marksmanship skill book, green tier. I used my talent, jumping it a rank up to blue. This upgraded version gives the user permanent, advanced shooting techniques. It massively boosts accuracy and stability, enhances visual tracking, and adds basic weapon maintenance knowledge. I used it without hesitating. The book dissolved into pure light and rushed into my mind. Suddenly, I had muscle memory I never earned. To grip, breathing, aiming, backing, and recoil control. So it actually felt like years of training. I raised my hand to grip an imaginary gun, rock solid. I could spot tiny details from a distance, gravel bugs, and even predict their exact paths. For once, I wasn't just some guy holding a gun. I actually knew how to use it perfectly. The second item, a level 1 vehicle upgrade blueprint. Pretty useless since my truck was already level 2. But then an idea hit me. I used my talent. The 30% double rank jump triggered again, pushing it from level 1 straight to a level 3 blueprint. This level 3 blueprint showed the exact requirements for upgrading a vehicle to level 4. Level 3 vehicle missing. Level 3 engine ready, thanks to my blue tier engine. Level 3 glass also ready. The level 3 chassis ready. But the vehicle core was missing, so I had the blueprint before even owning a level 3 car. I was missing the step from level 2 to 3, plus that weird, mysterious vehicle core. Oddly enough, neither the level 1 nor level 3 upgrades required better tires. I didn't get why tires were left out of the leveling system, but whatever. The third item, an iron tier talent fragment. Collecting 10 of these would let me craft a talent upgrade stone. Could I actually push my legendary tier talent even higher? No idea, but gathering these fragments just became my new long-term goal. It was 2:30 p.m. The race event was still running. I thought about Suwon. Could she survive this? I messaged her. She finally replied after 5 nerve-wracking minutes. She was alive, but her challenge was totally different. Instead of biker raiders, her whole stretch of road had actually started collapsing. There's a massive cracks and sinkholes were opening behind her, forcing her to drive at top speed without stopping. Luckily, she had found that green tier engine earlier. She managed to maintain 80 kilometers an hour with enough fuel to survive. Pretty good. My investment was still breathing. I told her to message me if anything went sideways, then closed the chat and leaned back. I used 3 talent charges today, leaving 2. That skill book turned me from an amateur to a pro sniper. Plus, a level 3 upgrade blueprint that totally fast-tracked my progress, and my very first talent upgrade puzzle piece. A solid haul for one fight. I checked regional chat to see how others were handling this race event. People were surviving all kinds of nightmares, road collapses, a relentless black fog chasing them down, even wild monsters. But absolutely nobody mentioned human enemies or biker gangs. That confirmed my suspicion. The system scales the difficulty based on vehicle level. My level 2 truck was likely the best around, so I got the hardest challenge. For the next 2 hours, I just drove without spotting a single supply crate. Completely empty roads. Super weird, but I kept going. Then around 6 p.m., something totally new appeared on the horizon. An actual building. Getting closer, it just looked like an old bus stop shelter. Across the top hung a wide metal sign, supply point. First system-marked location I've found since arriving in this world. Inside, 2 silver machines, looking like massive futuristic vending machines. The one on the left was labeled Resource Recycler. It converts junk into points. Metal blocks, rubber, fuel, materials, absolutely everything has a point value. The 1 metal block equals 1 point. Same for a fuel unit. Green tier materials net 2 points each. The right machine was a resource shop. It sold everything: basic food and water, blueprints, even upgrade materials. The prices caught my eye immediately. Green quality vehicle part blueprints cost 50 points apiece. The level 1 vehicle upgrade blueprint went for 100 points. Level 2 cost 200. That level 2 blueprint was exactly what I needed to push my truck toward level 3. I absolutely had to grab it. I started tossing everything I could spare into the recycler. Extra food, supplies, most of my fuel, keeping only the bare essentials. After selling off the junk, I hit 165 points. Still 35 points short. I checked my remaining stash. To my handgun, the fridge blueprint, tactical knife, the power core, the raw materials, and 10 units of wolf meat. Plus cooking supplies, water, and 50 fuel units. I needed those materials for future crafting, and the meat for daily stat boosts. The gun was my lifeline. I stared at the screen, racking my brain for anything else I could sacrifice to hit 200. 35 points short for the level 2 blueprint. Then I noticed the blue quality power core sitting in my bag, the spare from the second silver box. My nuclear reactor, I'd never actually need it. Its recycle value, a solid 100 points. That would bring my total up to 265. Enough for the blueprint, but nothing else. Then it hit me, I had a much better idea. So why not upgrade the core with my talent first, then sell the boosted version? I instantly triggered my rule-breaking skill on it. It jumped a whole rank to purple tier. A high-grade power core that could run a level 2 or 3 vehicle for 7 straight days. Impressive, sure, but completely useless next to my infinite energy setup. The new recycle value? 500 points. 5 times the original price. Now sitting on 665 points, it was time to shop. I grabbed the level 2 vehicle blueprint for 200, along with green tier blueprints for the vehicle frame, the glass, and the engine, 50 points a pop, plus another level 1 upgrade blueprint for 100. Total cost? 450 points. The level 2 upgrade blueprint finally revealed the requirements to push from level 2 up to 3. It had everything: engine, glass, frame, except for one thing. The vehicle core. That same mysterious component needed for the leap from tier 3 to 4. 2 vehicle cores and I could jump straight from level 2 to 4. Problem was, I had absolutely no clue what they even were or where to find one. With my remaining 215 points, I stocked up on raw materials. 50 metal blocks, 30 plastic, 20 rubber, 19 electronics, and 20 pieces of glass. This stash would fuel all my future crafting operations. I decided to camp at the supply point overnight. It felt way safer than the open road, plus other survivors might show up to trade. 2 talent uses left. I used the first to upgrade a slice of wolf meat for tonight's stat boost. The final charge went toward testing something I was incredibly curious about. Could I upgrade a blueprint, craft the item, and then upgrade the final product too? I crafted the fridge from the green tier blueprint I had upgraded earlier, then immediately popped my talent on the finished product. The 30% chance for a double rank jump actually triggered. It vaulted straight to purple tier, a smart, temperature-controlled storage unit. 5 square meters of internal space, adjustable from -8 to 8 degrees. The catch? A 40% spike in power consumption. The test was a total success. Upgrading the blueprint and boosting the crafted item counted as 2 entirely separate actions. Both worked perfectly. This meant my talent was insanely more broken than I first realized. I could double dip on literally every craftable item. I installed the fridge right away. With nuclear power, that extra energy drain meant nothing. Installing it was pretty wild. The bracelet projected a three-dimensional model of my truck, letting me drag the unit exactly where I wanted. I locked it in behind the passenger door to balance out the vehicle weight. Outside, it looked like a standard silver box taking up half the back seat, but inside, 5 whole square meters, way bigger than it looked. They packed it with 10 units of green tier wolf meat, 12 water bottles, and spice powder. Finally, cold drinks in this brutal heat. Though man, I really regretted recycling that cola earlier. Still, the bigger realization had me buzzing. So, my talent test confirmed it upgrading a blueprint, and upgrading the final product triggered independently. Any green blueprint I found would guarantee a purple tier final product at minimum. That was an absolutely massive advantage. My priority now? Finding vehicle cores. Getting 2 would let me skip straight to level 4. I scoured the trading panel. Nothing. Not a single vehicle core listed. I tossed up a buy request in the regional chat, but my message got completely buried in the noise. Chat was pure chaos as usual. 8,000 more people dead. Over 20,000 just gone in 3 days. A few players stumbled onto supply points too, but most didn't have enough resources to actually afford that level 2 upgrade blueprint. That meant others were catching up to level 2 soon. My head start was shrinking fast. Then I spotted some incredibly useful intel. Turns out, pretty much everyone had stumbled across a supply point by now. The system was handing every survivor a clear path forward. Good to know, but that also meant way fiercer competition. I threw together some dinner, grilled wolf meat and cold fridge water. I used my talent on a fresh cut of wolf meat, upgrading it straight to a blue tier fortified steak. It only jumped 1 single rank this time. Out of 5 uses today, I hit just 1 double jump. Those 30% and 5% odds were showing me zero mercy. I choked down the fortified meat, watching my physical stats tick up to 11 points. Noticeably stronger than yesterday. Slow but perfectly steady progress. I was just getting ready for sleep when Swan messaged. He saw my post about vehicle cores and offered to keep an eye on the chat for them. Huge relief. I definitely could not monitor the channel all day while driving. I already asked her to keep watch. Then, right as I was settling into bed for the night, a trade notification suddenly popped up. Swan had sent over 2 items, a level 1 vehicle upgrade blueprint and a green tier storage expansion blueprint. She was actually keeping her word. Swan really sent me 2 items, that level 1 vehicle upgrade blueprint and the storage expansion blueprint. Green tier, I was honestly stunned. That upgrade blueprint costs a solid 100 points at the supply station for someone still driving a level 1 truck. It was easily her most vital item, yet she sent it without a second thought. I checked the storage blueprint. 10 storage slots demanding 10 metal blocks and 10 electronic components. Exactly what I needed right now. My 10-slot inventory was a constant headache, forcing me to juggle items every time I popped open a box. But I couldn't accept the upgrade blueprint. She needed it way more than I did. I told her to keep it, and just took the storage blueprint as payment for her promise. She was incredibly grateful, promising to send any future blueprints my way. Then I finally asked the question burning a hole in my brain. How did she keep finding these insanely rare blueprints? She hesitated for a second before answering. Her talent was silver tier, something called the Divine Craftsman's Manuscript. Every single day, a random supply box spawned inside her vehicle, always dropping a blueprint tied to her current stage. That explained everything, a perfectly guaranteed daily blueprint. What an absolutely insane talent. In a world where maybe 1 in 1,000 players ever saw a blueprint, she had a daily reliable supply line. I told her straight up that talent was incredible. But playing it safe, I wanted to use my talent on the storage blueprint before actually crafting it. A higher tier meant way more slots, but I had already burned through all 5 charges today. The whole thing could wait until tomorrow. Then my brain shifted to strategy regarding Swan. Her talent probably scaled with her vehicle level. A level 1 truck meant mint green tier blueprints. If she hit level 2, would she start getting blue tier and purple at level 3? Helping her upgrade was definitely not just charity. It was a direct investment in better blueprints for myself. Then a much wilder idea hit me. If her talent was strictly tied to the vehicle, what if she ditched her own truck and rode in mine? Would her talent still trigger? If it did, would the blueprint scale to my vehicle level instead of hers? That theory desperately needed some testing. But first, I had to build trust and find those vehicle cores. I messaged Swan asking what she still needed for level 2. She just needed a vehicle chassis blueprint. She literally had everything else ready. I was pretty shocked she managed to gather all that alone. I offered her my spare chassis blueprint with one condition. Tomorrow's blueprint from her talent would go to me, regardless of the tier. She agreed immediately. A little later, a private message from a stranger popped up. I have a vehicle core. My heart leaped. I asked for their price. 100 fuel units, plus a level 1 upgrade blueprint. Way too expensive. After some intense haggling, we settled on 50 fuel units, plus that level 1 blueprint. My condition, tell me where the core came from. Her answer made my blood run cold. It was a woman. She ran into another player at a supply point. Some guy tried to pull something, so she killed him. When the system offered to fully dismantle his vehicle, it spat out a vehicle core. So vehicle cores basically came from destroying other players' rides. That meant the only reliable source was other people. This twisted game was forcing survivors into brutal conflict, whether they wanted it or not. It also confirmed players could actually cross paths at supply points. The system's promise of meeting others was totally real. We finished the trade and added each other as friends. Her name was Sue Kersonen. I instantly told her I would buy more cores if she found any. The one core secured, just one left for level 4. Almost immediately, someone else messaged me about a core, but this guy wanted way more. The level 1 and 2 upgrade blueprints, plus an AC blueprint. Talk about pure greed. Plus, I really needed that level 2 blueprint myself, so I just told him I was short on materials and would reach out later. He suddenly got super aggressive, demanded to know if I was playing him. His tone felt sketchy. Definitely not a guy I wanted to trade with. I had a gut feeling he scored his core by killing another player. Despite his claims about finding it in a special box, I ignored his last messages entirely and got ready to rest. But what I didn't realize, turning him down had just put a target on my back. Somewhere out there, a guy named Lu Jiqiang was glaring at his screen with pure murder in his eyes, furious that I bailed on his deal. Out in this wasteland, monsters weren't the only threat. Some survivors were way worse. Anyway, the conditions for my level 3 upgrade were finally met. I hit the button without any hesitation. Then the system warned me to step back from the vehicle. I hopped out quickly, watching from the supply point as his blue glow entirely swallowed the truck. 10 minutes later, it was done. A brand new silver-gray truck sat exactly where the old white one had been. I ran over to inspect it. The new interior was an absolutely massive upgrade. Plush, comfortable seats replaced the basic old ones. But the best surprise was the lighting. Ceiling LEDs and built-in wall lights neatly integrated into the doors. After 2 straight nights of pitch darkness inside the car, just being able to see at night felt like an absolute luxury. And more importantly, I could actually monitor what was happening outside during the night. Plus, the old dashboard was swapped out for a massive touchscreen display. So once powered on, a new system notification appeared. The map feature unlocked, showing a live feed of terrain, obstacles, supply boxes within 10 meters. 10 meters isn't a huge range, but it meant I wouldn't have to constantly scan the roadside anymore. Supply boxes would now appear automatically on the screen. The real turning point for gathering materials. Here are the full stats. Level 3 truck. Top speed of 180 kilometers per hour. All my current equipment carried over. The gold luck pendant. The blue engine. The bulletproof glass. And the sturdy metal frame. The explosion-proof tires. Orange nuclear reactor. And purple fridge. The core upgrades were the speed boost, the incredible lighting, and that new map feature. I was dead on my feet, kicked the seat back and crashed hard. For the second straight night, absolutely nothing attacked me. I slept completely uninterrupted until 5:30 a.m. The danger avoidance perk on my luck pendant was clearly working hard, but I finally realized the downside. No monster attacks meant zero loot. That meant absolutely no meat to upgrade my stats. I might actually need to start hunting beasts on purpose. I texted Sue to check on her. She finally pulled off her level 2 upgrade, and she had a pretty peaceful night too. She heard some noise, but nothing attacked. Great news, really. I reminded her to send over whatever blueprint her talent ended up producing today. Since she hit level 2, there was a pretty solid chance her daily blueprint would be way higher quality than before. And my next goal was crystal clear. Find a second vehicle core and advance to level 4. As dawn broke, I hit the road. The outside temp already hit 32 degrees and was climbing fast. I genuinely wondered how many people were going to survive this heat wave without AC. At the supply point, the AC blueprint wasn't cheap at all. Most survivors were probably forced to choose between air conditioning or upgrading their trucks. A brutal choice either way. But that level 3 map feature made searching so much easier. Instead of straining my eyes scanning the road, boxes now showed up as yellow dots on the screen. Then, around 9 a.m., the first yellow dot appeared. A basic supply box hidden in the roadside grass, holding 5 water bottles, 3 metal blocks, and a kitchen knife. Pretty basic stuff. But now I knew those yellow dots meant supply boxes. By 11:30, the second dot led me to a bronze box. It held 5 cans of yellow peaches, to 5 electronic components, energy drinks, and a sturdy green tier Tang sword. Both boxes today dropped weapons. It was super obvious the game was pushing everyone to arm up quickly. The outside heat hit 43 degrees. Just stepping out for 5 minutes left me drenched in sweat. It's only day 3 of 7, and things are already feeling almost impossible. Anyone out here without an AC was in serious trouble. After a quick break, I kept on driving. Less than a kilometer later, I reached a crossroads. Right in the middle sat a battered truck. It was the exact same starter vehicle everybody got. Doors were left wide open. No players, no monsters, absolutely zero movement. I quickly checked my map screen. Nothing weird within 10 meters. I stepped out carefully and approached it. The second I got close enough, my bracelet suddenly chimed. Ownerless vehicle detected. Dismantle. My heart practically leaped out of my chest. I hit that confirm button without a second thought. Dismantling complete. One vehicle core obtained, my sec core, just like that. Someone either died or completely abandoned their ride, and I just happened to stumble right into it. All my searching, trading, and endless stressing out, and the solution was just sitting at some random crossroads. The temperature had now spiked to 45 degrees. I ran back to my truck, slammed the door, and let the cold air completely wash over me. I finally had both vehicle cores. Level 4 was officially within reach. Finding that second core so fast was unexpected. With both secured, I checked the Tier 4 upgrade requirements. All conditions met. Tier 3 vehicle, engine, glass, chassis, and core, but the system added a surprise. I had to input raw materials. That exact amount would dictate the final vehicle quality. Max capacity was 50 metal blocks and 30 of everything else. Checking my inventory, I was so close but missing glass and rubber. I messaged Swan first, but she had just burned most of her materials reaching Tier 2. Only scrap remained. Next, I hit up Sue Kirsanen, the woman who sold me that first core. She had my exact needs. 7 glass and 3 rubber for metal blocks. Deal done. I maxed out all material slots and hit upgrade. Upgrading to Tier 4 now. Estimated time is 30 minutes. Step away from the vehicle. I immediately exited into the blazing heat, watching that blue glow engulf my silver truck. Then the light faded, a completely different ride stood there. A massive mobile home 6 meters long, 2.5 wide, 3 high. Silver white with smooth curved lines. It looked solid like a rugged little motorhome. I walked up, finding no door handle. Touching the panel made it slide open automatically. Smart recognition tech. Inside, cold air instantly hit me. The space was genuinely stunning. Up front sat a massive touchscreen dashboard and 2 swivel seats with overhead storage. So behind that, a double sofa, small coffee table, and a bathroom. A fully equipped kitchen featuring a sink, cabinets, and my built-in purple fridge. Way in the back, a real bed I could actually sleep on. After 3 nights sleeping upright in a car seat, I almost cried tears of joy. Felt like returning to the modern world, minus the running water. I checked the stats. Tier 4 motorhome, max speed 200 kilometers an hour. All my previous gear transferred perfectly. The only new feature was a note stating Tier 4 vehicles could mount weapon attachments. Honestly, the stats page was pretty underwhelming. Just an extra 20 kilometers an hour and the weapon mounting option. The living space upgrade was a massive leap. Bed, bathroom, kitchen, full lighting, and panoramic windows featuring automatic blinds. It wasn't just a vehicle anymore. It had become a home. I was still exploring my new motorhome when the bracelet vibrated with 3 global announcements everyone could see. First, a player upgraded to a Tier 4 vehicle, unlocking a regional vehicle leaderboard showing the top 60,000 players. Second, the survival game enters Phase 2 with an increased danger level. Third, the system receives major updates players must discover themselves. The leaderboard immediately asked if I wanted to hide my name, since I was sitting at rank 1. I hit hide without thinking. Fame in a death game puts a target on your back, but I was a split second late. Many people already saw my name before I clicked. I checked the rankings. The gap was absurd. My score was 11,240 points. Second place, someone named Lin Shun got 141. Third place, Sophia with 132. The top 10 all had Tier 2 vehicles, with points ranging between 111 and 141. I finally understood the scoring system. Orange gear grants 10,000 points, gold gives 1,000, purple offers 100, and blue gives just 10 points. My nuclear reactor alone was 10,000. The gold necklace added 1,000. My purple items gave 200 extra. My blue gear formed the rest. Everyone else had green and blue items at best. I was miles ahead of the competition. Not just a normal lead, but an entirely different league altogether. I had not checked global chat, but it was apparently blowing up. The people called me a cheat, begged for teams, and offered to ride along. Some disbelieved the point gap. A few pointed out the real worry. Phase 2 meant greater danger, and most people still struggled against the heat. Since I never participated in the global channel and blocked private messages from strangers, after the Liu Jijiang incident, nobody could reach me. Even those who glimpsed my name before I hit it had absolutely no way to contact me. I focused more on the system updates. The Phase 2 announcement and the note about Tier 4 vehicle weapon attachments. All of this meant I needed to find mounted weapons soon. With mounting danger, having an offensive capability on the motorhome itself would be absolutely crucial. The comfortable new home was great, but comfort would not save me in Phase 2. I needed firepower. I glanced at the chat and saw everyone discussing me, the mysterious rank 1 player. I smiled briefly, then closed it. That abandoned starter truck I found earlier served as a reminder. People died every day. Being rank 1 meant nothing if I did not stay alive. It was pushing 3 p.m. I remembered this morning's supply crates. Both held weapons, a kitchen knife and a green quality tank sword. Checking the trading board confirmed my suspicions. Melee weapons were now completely flooding the market. The system was arming everyone. That there were no guns, bows, or any ranged weapons just yet. Those remained extremely rare. That worried me. More weapons in circulation meant players would inevitably start hunting each other for resources. Though monsters weren't the only threat anymore, human greed would be just as dangerous. I stepped back and took an honest look at my situation. My biggest strength, a level 4 RV, the only one around. Top speed of 200 kilometers an hour, infinite energy, and a comfortable living space. Weapon mounting unlocked. The purple tier pistol with infinite ammo and real shooting skills. But I had 4 weaknesses, all extremely critical. First, the RV is a massive, highly visible target. If hostile players or monsters attack, spotting me would be way too easy. Second, I still had absolutely 0 vehicle-mounted weapons. The level 4 upgrade unlocked the weapon slots, but they were sitting completely empty. Third, the water issue really stressed me out. I only had 14 bottles left, enough for drinking but absolutely nothing else. The RV had a full kitchen sink and a shower, but none of it actually worked without a steady water supply. After 3 sweating days in over 40-degree heat, my body was absolutely caked in dried salt and grime. Just thinking about a shower practically hurt. Fourth, my own personal combat ability was still incredibly weak. The shooting skill book helped, but ultimately I was just a regular office worker with a physical stat of 11. Facing real threats, I had to keep evolving. The vehicle level was solid. The defense, weapons, water, and personal strength still needed work. I told myself all 4 needed improvement. Building the level 4 RV had drained nearly everything. My materials were totally gone. Trade stock was low. With Phase 2 promising even greater risks, I couldn't just sit around admiring my new home. I got into the seat and took off. Time to find supply crates and rebuild from scratch. It was 3 p.m. About 4 hours left until dark. I took the left fork at the intersection and kept driving. The luck pendant didn't react this time. Maybe both routes were equally safe. 30 minutes later, a tiny yellow dot popped up on my map. Through the window, I saw the supply crate half hidden in the tall grass. A bright green snake was coiled right beside it. Half a meter long, triangular head, scales gleaming in the sun. So monsters were now showing up right next to supply crates. Phase 2 already changed the rules. I grabbed my pistol, opened a side window, and aimed at the snake from almost 200 meters. To one shot. Perfect hit. That shooting mastery skill was genuinely incredible. My hands didn't shake even a fraction. The accuracy felt almost supernatural. I stepped out and dismantled the carcass, snagging 2 units of white tier snake meat. Just basic items, decent for restoring a little stamina once cooked. Then I opened the crate. Dried noodles, fermented tofu, 5 metal ingots, and corn seeds. It's actual seeds. So this survival game really expected us to farm. I didn't dwell on it. 40 minutes later, another yellow dot popped up. This time, something much more disturbing was crouching right beside the crate. A humanoid creature, about a meter tall, hunchbacked with wrinkled black and gray skin like dried bark, short but heavily muscled limbs, razor-sharp claws, and blood-red eyes. It looked exactly like a goblin from a fantasy movie. Another headshot, 1 bullet, instant kill. But when I went to dismantle the body, the system flat-out refused. No mutant body detected. Cannot be dismantled. So I guess not every single monster dropped useful crafting materials. The crate was iron rank. 8 electronic components, 6 rubber scraps, tomato seeds, and a green tier bow and arrows. Another ranged weapon, but pretty useless since I had my pistol. It was 5:10 p.m. Outside temperature was 45 degrees. Day 3 of the heat event, and the scorching heat was still locked at completely lethal levels. Sat back in the driver's seat, thinking hard. Every single supply crate now had a monster guarding it. Without my pistol and shooting skills, I would have to fight these things up close in 45-degree heat. How many people could honestly survive that? The cries for help in the chat never stopped. The population counter just kept dropping constantly. But there was absolutely nothing I could do to help anyone else. Everyone started from the exact same starting line. I was just a lot luckier with my talent. That was the reality. I told myself I had to reach the end, for my own sake and my parents'. I shook off those heavy feelings and finally treated myself to a decent meal. The very first time, I actually used the rig kitchen. No running water, but bottled water did the trick perfectly. I boiled the dried noodles with snake meat and spices, then grilled up a chunk of wolf meat on the side. I upgraded it to blue tier with my talent first, of course. Still just a 1 rank jump. I started wondering if I'd ever trigger an even higher upgrade on meat someday. Lounging on the sofa in 24-degree comfort, eating hot noodle soup with grilled meat and fermented tofu, all while the wasteland outside burned at 45 degrees. The contrast felt completely surreal. That simple, warm meal did more for my mental state than absolutely anything else. The heavy tension and pressure from the last 3 days finally faded a bit. After cleaning up, my system bracelet suddenly buzzed. Duanwan sent over a trade deal, a green tier metal armor plate blueprint and actual upgrade for the vehicle defense. This was exactly what I needed. Her talent proved its worth again. She excitedly messaged that she could vaguely sense her talent pattern, and believed a blue tier blueprint would arrive within a day or 2. When I asked if her skill description explained it, she said no, just a gut feeling. She also mentioned her crossbow bolts were running dangerously low. Only 3 left, mostly because monsters were guarding all the supply crates now. I didn't have spare ammo, but promised to send some the second I found any. Dinner finished, and new blueprint secured 4 skill uses left. Time to put them to work. They upgraded the Tang sword. It jumped 2 ranks to purple tier, the armor-piercing Tang blade. It could now ignore a chunk of enemy defense, an incredible melee weapon. The bow also hit purple tier, the cloud-piercing bow. Faster arrows plus an auto-aim feature that corrects paths within 1 meter. Perfect gift for Suwonwan's ammo shortage. The storage expansion blueprint went up 1 rank to blue tier. It offered 20 slots instead of 10, but crafting required 20 metal blocks and 20 electronic parts. The metal armor plate blueprint also hit blue tier, becoming an alloy armor blueprint capable of blocking small firearms. It cost 50 metal blocks, a steep price, but vehicle protection was absolutely crucial. 2 purple weapons, 2 blue blueprints. The 4 skill attempts well spent. I pushed everything aside and sat on the sofa feeling pretty frustrated. Both weapons reached purple tier with amazing stats, but they were practically useless to me. The Tang blade is a melee weapon. I am an office worker, not some swordsman, and the cloud-piercing bow has 0 arrows. Meanwhile, the blueprints I desperately needed only went up a single rank, and I lacked the materials to craft either. They unsheathed the Tang blade. Almost a meter-long dark silver with a matte finish, a genuinely beautiful weapon. Every guy has martial arts fantasies, but in my hands it was pure decoration. I put it away. By 7:10 p.m. the sky grew dark. I lay down on the bed in the back, a real bed. That softness felt like absolute heaven. After nights sleeping upright in a car seat, I crashed hard, but scratching noises woke me at 10:31 p.m. Something was outside, claws scraping the ground. I crept toward the driver's seat and peeked out. Pitch black out there, couldn't see a thing. I sat for a full hour, listening in total silence. The sounds crept closer, time was up. If they reached the vehicle, shooting through the windows at close range would be nearly impossible. I wasn't certain the blue chassis could survive a real attack, so I switched on all lights inside and out. The white beams cut through the dark, illuminating everything within 10 meters. My blood ran completely cold. 20 meters out, about 10 dog-like monsters gathered in a semicircle. Bigger than normal hounds, muddy patchy fur, grayish-blue skin, and drool sliding down their exposed fangs. Their eyes glowed green under the lights, entirely focused on the vehicle. The moment the light hit them, the leader snarled, readying a charge. No hesitation, I popped the side window, raised my gun, and fired. Shot after shot, clean headshots every single time. Within a minute, all 10 dropped dead before even reaching me. I fell back, drenched in sweat and gasping. Then a massive crash, the whole vehicle violently shook. Something slammed the rear. I rushed to the middle section and peered through the glass. The giant version, nearly 2 meters long, was violently smashing the rear. I cracked the window and emptied my last 5 rounds directly into its head. It finally collapsed. 15 bullets total, entirely gone. The gun regenerates 1 round per hour, leaving me completely defenseless until morning. I collapsed onto the sofa, utterly drained. Just stared at the ceiling, praying nothing else was lurking out there. Almost midnight, the most dangerous hour. My weapon was empty, but I had to check the vehicle damage before things got worse. I grabbed the armor-piercing Tang blade, the weapon I mocked hours ago, as totally useless for an office worker. Muttering that I didn't expect to need it this fast, I stepped out into the sweltering, blood-soaked air. 10 dead monsters scattered up front. I headed directly for the rear, where the massive beast attacked. The damage made my stomach churn. A deep dent in the chassis, the peeled paint, twisted metal, and deep claw gouges across the surface. Just minutes more of that attack, the blue chassis would have shredded, leaving me completely dead. I approached the giant carcass, cautiously attempting to use my dismantling skill. 2 meters long, pure muscle mass, 5 bullet holes in the skull, obviously dead. I reached out to touch it. Its head snapped up, green eyes blazing, jaws wide open, fangs lunging straight at my face. It played dead. Pure instinct saved me as I threw myself backward. Those fangs narrowly missed my face, slamming hard into my shoulder, shredding clothes and sinking deep into flesh. The blood splattered everywhere. The pain was completely blinding. I stumbled backward into the vehicle, with absolutely nowhere left to run. The blood poured down my arm, hand shaking, heart hammering violently against my ribs. The beast reared up to its full height, snarling, staring at me like a fresh meal. Then it lunged, aiming massive claws straight for my head. Something took over me right then. Not bravery, just pure survival instinct. I dodged sideways, gripping the Tang blade with both hands. Ignoring the tearing pain, I shoved it straight up into the creature's throat with everything I had. The purple quality blade sliced through like the beast was made of paper. The armor penetration effect wasn't just a gimmick. The creature thrashed violently, claws scraping the carriage's outer shell as it shrieked in absolute agony. I held the blade in place with all my might, gritting my teeth while our blood completely drenched my body. Seconds later, its body stiffened and collapsed. Dead for real this time. I slowly let go, sliding down the carriage wall until I sat. I clutched my bleeding shoulder, shaking completely out of control. Just 1 second slower. Those fangs would have taken my head clean off. I slumped against the carriage, bleeding heavily, shoulder entirely shredded. And I caught the time 11:59 p.m., 1 minute until midnight when my talent recharges. I forced myself up and touched the giant beast's corpse before time ran out. Commander class body detected, dismantle, yes. I harvested 30 units of blue quality dog meat, no time to check anything. I stumbled back inside and collapsed hard. My shoulder wound was incredibly gruesome. Flesh torn open, pain stabbed me with every single movement. I checked the meat. Blue quality gives 1 permanent physical point per unit, just like the wolf meat. Having 30 units is great, but right now I need something much bigger. Then midnight hit. My 5 daily talent charges refreshed. Without any hesitation, I used one on a unit of the blue dog meat. It jumped 2 tiers straight to gold quality. The description nearly made my heart stop. Gold quality dog meat increases physical stats by 100 permanent points. It contains pure violent biomutation energy. Effectiveness drops after repeated use. In a world where the human stat cap is 20, a single piece of meat gives me 100. It wasn't just an upgrade, it was an actual evolution. My hands were shaking not from the pain this time, but from pure shock. I dragged myself to the kitchen, cooked the meat as fast as possible, and devoured it before it was even fully done. The moment I swallowed it, warmth flooded my entire body. Then it turned incredibly violent. Energy erupted inside me like a raging volcano, slamming into every cell, bone, and blood vessel. It felt like being tossed into a blazing furnace while getting stabbed by 1,000 needles. My shoulder wound completely stopped bleeding. Right before my eyes, the torn flesh knitted together, scabbing and healing at an impossible speed. Power surged through my veins in waves. The pain vanished, replaced by an overwhelming tingling sensation. But the energy was just too massive, way more than my brain could actually handle. The vision went dark. I hit the floor. The last thing I felt was my body mutating in ways no normal human could ever survive. A faint golden light leaked from my skin as I lay totally unconscious on the carriage floor, mutating in silence while the outside world slept. I woke up on the floor at 8:45 a.m., over 8 hours of the absolute deepest sleep I've had since entering this world. The first thing I noticed, zero pain. My shoulder, the one fiercely shredded by monster fangs just hours ago, was completely healed. Not a single scar remained. The skin was smooth, tight, and somehow even better than before. I got up and walked over to the bathroom mirror. The guy staring back at me was completely unrecognizable. That pale, weak worker with exhausted eyes was gone. In his place stood someone with an athletic, heavily defined build. My muscles popped, not bulky but perfectly proportioned like a peak athlete. My face had changed too. Those fine lines around my eyes completely vanished. My skin was clear and bright, my gaze sharp and alert. I looked 10 years younger, like I was back to 18 or 19. This is what 100 physical points does. Not just stronger reborn. I checked my stats. Physical at 112, mental at 20. I jumped straight to peak human tier 2. An extra bonus I never even expected, alongside my archery mastery skill. I washed off with a water bottle. My clothes were entirely ruined, caked in dried monster blood and my own. After wiping down, all I had left to wear were some shorts. Not exactly a stylish look, but at least I was finally clean. Sat in the driver's seat and thought about what I still needed. First, water. I only had 10 bottles left with 0 water source. And a superhuman body breaks down eventually. 2 days maybe before my stash runs completely dry. Second, close quarters combat training. The last night, I survived that giant monster through pure luck and a sharp blade, not skill. With 112 physical points, my strength, speed, and reflexes easily crush human limits. But raw power without technique is just dangerous waste. I needed to learn how to fight properly. Third, the metal armor blueprint. If I had equipped that armor last night, I wouldn't have faced death like that. I have the blue quality blueprint, but I need 50 metal blocks to craft it. Finding materials was extremely urgent now. I stepped out to check last night's battlefield, hoping to dismantle the 10 smaller beast corpses for supplies and trade points. They're gone, every last one. No corpses, no blood. The ground is completely spotless, like the fight never even happened. My blood is boiling. Those bodies would have netted me hundreds of supply station points. But whatever, no use crying about it now. The ultimate reward, the golden meat that just reshaped my body, was already sitting in my stomach. I took a deep breath, cranked the engine, and hit the road. A new day, a leveled up body, and a massive list of problems to fix. I drove for about 20 minutes hitting 0 supply boxes. The trade panel is pretty dead today. Just food, water, and basic melee weapons. 0 decent blueprints. Then a ping from Sukersonen. Short and blunt, I have a team scroll. Help me out, and it is yours. I checked the item stats instantly. A team scroll is a rare drop for inviting another player to your party. But once they accept, that player and their vehicle teleports straight to your location, even from a totally different zone. In a wasteland where you can drive for days without seeing a single human. An item like this is basically priceless. She needed a weapon, preferably ranged. I scanned my inventory. The phantom gun is totally off the table. It is my main weapon. The armor-piercing Tang blade just saved my life and dominates close combat, especially now that my physical energy hit 112. So that left only the cloud-piercing bow, a solid purple tier item. It features auto-aim, but I have 0 arrows. I offered her a choice between the blade and the bow. She picked the bow instantly. She already had arrows. Trade complete. The team scroll spawned right into my inventory. I leaned back, totally unable to stop thinking about this item's true value. The power to pull someone directly to my side along with their vehicle. Only one specific person crossed my mind. Wan. Her insane talent grants her a new blueprint daily. She already gave me blueprints for tires, storage expansions, and heavy vehicle armor. Each one was exactly what I needed. If she were actually riding with me, our efficiency would be terrifying. No more waiting on trades, no more delivery delays. Daily blueprints feeding straight into my upgrades. But I held back. Real trust takes time. I am not even sure she wants to team up, and I refused to gamble on someone I barely knew through a few text messages. The scroll stayed in my inventory. Not today, maybe soon. Meanwhile, my senses felt incredibly superhuman. While driving, I could spot the slightest twitch in distant grass and track tiny pebbles on the road. Everything was sharper, clearer, and much faster. Half an hour later, a supply box spawned on the roadside, heavily guarded by a mutated beast. Instead of grabbing my gun, I pulled the armor-piercing Tang blade. Stepping out of the camper bare-chested in just shorts, I strolled confidently right toward that monster. But when it lunged, everything seemed to move in slow motion. I dodged the attack easily and swung the blade once. It sliced through the creature's neck like butter. The entire fight took under 3 seconds. I stood there staring at my hand in pure shock, then down at the sliced monster on the ground. So this is what 112 physical energy feels like. A creature that would have terrified me 2 days ago was now easier to slice than vegetables. The box dropped 5 water bottles, 5 glass pieces, and 10 fuel units. The mutant corpse could not be broken down. Business as usual, I kept driving. By 11:30, the outside temperature spiked to 46 degrees. Another supply box appeared ahead, guarded by 2 mutants this time. I stepped out carrying my blade. The first one lunged instantly. I sidestepped, splitting it in half with one horizontal strike. The second attacked from behind. I didn't even turn around. To reverse my grip and stab backward, piercing its skull. 5 seconds flat, both were dead. The bronze chest held 10 metal blocks, 5 electronic components, a basic gift box, and a green tier vehicle workbench blueprint. Blueprint's description was slightly confusing. It installs an attack alarm system, pinging my bracelet whenever the camper takes a hit. It honestly seemed kind of pointless, since I practically live inside the camper anyway. It might be useful at night to catch monster ambushes while sleeping. I tossed it aside without overthinking it. I headed back inside, cracked open a can of iced peaches, and grabbed a cold drink from the fridge. Sitting in a cold camper at noon, eating chilled fruit while the outside world roasts at 46 degrees. Pure luxury. I killed 3 monsters this morning without even breaking a sweat. No gun needed. 0 fear, 0 struggle, just pure, effortless physical power. This feeling of true power, a strength pulsing right through my veins, was the best thing I had experienced since arriving in this harsh world. While driving, I was checking the trade panel when something made me pause. A vehicle water condenser blueprint blue tier. It pumps out 10 liters of clean drinking water every single day and mounts onto any level 2 vehicle. The seller demanded 1,000 fuel units, an insane price nobody could afford. But water was my most desperate need right now. Using my talent, I can upgrade this condenser to massively spike its output. Enough for drinking, cooking, maybe even a warm bath. I messaged the seller to start negotiations. Their instant reply left me completely stunned. They told me we wouldn't need to discuss price. I will give you this item for free. You are the global #1 on the vehicle leaderboard, right? You let us join your squad, consider this our entry fee. I completely froze. How did they uncover my real identity? Turns out, right when the rankings first dropped, this person saw my name before I hit it. They also remembered my profile picture from that regional chat post buying vehicle cores. That was exactly how they connected the dots. They were actually twin sisters named Lingxi and Linu. They had identical silver rank talents. One was Twin Bond, which could massively boost a teammate's talent effects for 10 whole minutes. It was usable 3 times daily. The other talent, called Twin Lotus, triggered extra bonuses whenever a teammate opened supply crates, working 3 times daily too. Both talents were specifically designed to buff up their teammates. Combined with my legendary rule breaker talent, the potential was truly terrifying. I hesitated slightly. I had a team scroll, but I kept it saved for Su Wanwan. Handing my life to total strangers in this cruel game felt too reckless. Then Lingxi sent over details of an extra item that changed everything's shared fate. A special binding contract. Once bound, any member could instantly teleport the others directly to their location, vehicles included. The price was absolutely brutal. If a team member dies, surviving members lose 50% of their base stats. If one person remains, they lose 99%. Twin sisters were already bound by this exact contract. They wanted me to join it too. This literally meant they could never betray me without destroying themselves. Lingxi wrote with this contract, "You can trust us. We just want to survive and find our parents. Otherwise, we would have never teamed up with anyone." This contract was the ultimate guarantee. Betrayal here meant guaranteed self-destruction. I told them I would answer tonight, then accepted Lingxi's friend request. I needed some time to really think. Their talents were amazing, but joining them meant I couldn't use the team scroll on Suwanwan. Major fateful decisions require deep and careful thought. I parked the RV roadside, spending 2 entire hours analyzing everything. The twins' offer was incredibly tempting. A water condenser blueprint, 2 silver-rank support abilities to boost me, and a strict contract ensuring complete loyalty. But yet the original version of shared fate genuinely terrified me. If a teammate dies, I lose 50% of my stats. If both die, I lose 99. Since my physical stat is 112, it drops to practically 1. That is a guaranteed death sentence out here. The real danger wasn't monsters. It was trusting strangers with my survival. One single mistake, one panic attack, one betrayal, and we all plunged straight into the abyss. But the more I thought about it, the more clearly the massive benefits outweighed those risks. Combining their support talents with Suwanwan's daily blueprints and my legendary talent would make my growth unstoppable. Always playing it safe just meant falling behind in the end. Standing perfectly still in this cruel game was just a slow death. I made my final choice. I messaged Lingxi. I told her I would join them. She was ecstatic, but I had exactly one condition. That shared fate contract had to be transferred to me first. I would be the one activating it. I needed to confirm it was totally real. More importantly, I wanted to test out an idea I had. Lingxi handed it over with zero hesitation, no strings attached. She refused to even take the Tang blade I offered up as collateral. The second I got the contract, I triggered my talent on it. Rule Breaker activated, launching a massive 2-rank upgrade jump. Shared Fate evolved into the life and death item. This upgraded version was completely different from the original. Every negative effect was wiped out, replaced entirely by pure, insane benefits. Teleportation. Any member could summon their squad and vehicles once a day, regardless of environment. Team stat bonus. Each added member raises everyone's base stats by 10%. The death penalty was completely reversed. Instead of a harsh punishment, if a teammate dies, survivors gain 30% bonus stats for 1 full hour. If only one remains, they get a 100% boost. Maximum team size expanded from 3 to 8 people, plus a brand new 4th clause, a sole contract punishing traitors and protecting the loyal. Though the exact mechanics were somewhat unclear, I just stared at my screen in total awe. What looked like a terrifying, suffocating chain had just become the absolute strongest team-building tool imaginable. Zero downsides, only upsides. Even the betrayal clause now offered built-in protection against bad faith. This flipped everything. I activated the contract, adding myself to the team. The moment it registered us, me, Lingxi, and Linu, I felt my body grow noticeably stronger. That 10% stat boost per teammate was already working. I messaged Lingxi and hit teleport. A faint flash suddenly sparked just 10 meters from my RV. The air rippled violently as their level 2 truck materialized on the road out of thin air. Before I even stepped outside, a bright, eager voice rang out. Yay, we actually teleported. And the car came with us too. That was Linu, the younger twin. The loud voices and crazy energy impossible to ignore. I stepped out just as 2 girls left their truck. I was completely stunned. Both 19. Identical faces, pale skin, delicate features. But their vibes were entirely different. Linu wore her hair up, big bright eyes radiating absolute pure energy. The older sister, Lingxi, kept her long hair down. Very quiet, shy, with gentle eyes and a reserved nature. Meanwhile, Linu started teasing me immediately. Woody, why just shorts? That's so inappropriate. Yet her eyes stayed glued to my RV. I told them to come inside from the heat. They quickly followed. The cold air hit them, and Linu gasped. It's freezing. Our truck AC barely works. How is this possible? She bounced around checking everything. Kitchen, fridge, bathroom. Sister, there's a real shower here. She was extremely excited, but warned against touching things without asking. Lingxi just sat quietly on the sofa, hands on her knees, perfectly polite. She hadn't spoken yet. Out of habit, I sat down, totally forgetting my shirtless, shorts-only state, and landed right beside Lingxi. Linu instantly jumped between us, spreading her arms defensively. Dude, no weird ideas about my sister. We have a contract. Lingxi turned bright red. He tugged Linu by the sleeve, whispering to stop. Realizing how it looked, I moved to the driver's seat. Just habit. Don't worry. Linu relaxed and smiled, then turned serious what actually happened to that contract clause. Our base stats went up 30% after joining. What does Clause 4 really mean regarding traitors? That was the one question I couldn't answer yet. The original punished teammates with death. The upgraded version rewarded loyalty and punished betrayal, but the exact mechanics were still a complete mystery. The twins trusted the initial deal because the harsh old penalties basically made betrayal total suicide. So now that those were replaced by something vague, they had good reason to wonder what kept everyone honest. Relax, I said. Let's talk this over and stop with the formal titles. Just use my name or Big Brother. Lin looked skeptical, old man. You don't even look that much older than us. Lingxi quietly told her sister to stop being rude, then watched me curiously. I shifted the subject. How are you two so clean? It hardly looked like wasteland survivors at all, and it was pretty true. Spotless clothes, glowing faces. Meanwhile, I sat there in shorts with messy hair, looking exactly like a caveman. Lingxi calmly explained that their talents kept them well supplied with food and water. They found extra clothes in supply crates and changed whenever things got dirty. Made sense. Did you face any monsters? The energy totally drained from Linyu. She leaned closer to her sister many times. For 2 days, we didn't even dare step outside to gather crates. Lingxi added softly, I'll never risk my sister like that. That's exactly why we joined you. Then I addressed the real issue, the upgraded contract. Linyu tensed. She was loud and playful, but not stupid. The old contract had clear penalties preventing betrayal. But Clause 4 in the new version was vague, showing zero obvious consequences for bad behavior. They had every reason to worry. Lingxi spoke calmly, despite her obvious tension. What is done is done. We hope to work well together. I set simple ground rules. I wouldn't force extra work on them. I'd never endanger them, guaranteeing their safety. In return, when I need their talents, they cooperate without question. I control all resource decisions. If necessary, they might have to ditch their truck. My level 4 RV was superior in every single way. They understood completely. They will listen to you. Linyu raised her hand, swearing an oath. Lingxi gave me the water blueprint, politely announcing their return to the truck. To call us if you need anything. As they left, Linyu clearly wanted to protest the terms. Lingxi silenced her with one look and pulled her outside. It was a fair deal. They secured protection from the strongest player in this whole region, and I gained 2 support talents and daily blueprints. Trust would come later. Clear rules were enough for now. I wasted no time. It was 3:45 p.m. and 46 degrees outside. I messaged Lu, we are moving. Stay 5 meters behind, do not pass, do not lag. We rolled out in a convoy. My RV leading, their truck following. About 40 minutes later, a supply crate popped up on the map, guarded by 2 mutated creatures. It parked, told the twins to stay put, and stepped out holding my tang blade. The heat no longer bothered me at all. My 112 physical stat made the extreme heat unnoticeable. 3 seconds, 2 swings, both creatures dead. I didn't open the chest right there. Instead, I hauled the whole thing straight to my vehicle. Lingxi's talent doubles the loot when cracking chests open. Absolutely no point wasting that edge. We kept moving. Stop, kill, grab the box, then roll. That same routine carried on all evening. The twins watched everything from their truck. I can only imagine what went through their heads, watching me tear monsters apart like paper. By 6:30 p.m., the darkness started creeping in. I pulled over and told them to park right behind me, safety in numbers. I had bagged 3 chests that evening. The 1 iron, 1 bronze, and 1 normal chest. Time to actually test the twins' talents. They invited them inside the vehicle and set the boxes on the table. Linyu activated her buff on Lingxi. Then Lingxi opened all 3. The results were pretty mind-blowing. 30 metal blocks, 50 fuel units, 18 plastic pieces, and rubber parts, 10 electronic components, 10 kilos of rice, a dozen eggs, 12 beers, a carton of cigarettes. The real prize is 2 green quality blueprints. A panoramic radar blueprint and blast-resistant glass. The raw materials were massive, way more than I normally pulled in. But the blueprints were the real deal. Getting 2 out of 3 chests is rare. My personal luck was never this good. I told them your talents are really useful. Linyu smiled proudly, nodding hard. She replied, of course, my sister and I are the perfect duo. She was absolutely right. Between their loot buff and my upgrades, this partnership was already paying off. I was about to whip up some quick food when Lingxi spoke up softly. Her face flushed a bit. Can I handle the cooking? Turns out she cooked at home constantly. Linyu hyped her up. My sister's cooking is incredible. You will never forget the taste. I stepped back and gave her the entire kitchen. She opened the fridge, checked the ingredients without questioning its ridiculously huge inside space, and just got straight to work. Her movements were super practiced and smooth. Clearly someone who spent years in a kitchen. She made grilled meat, a massive plate of eggs, and a full pot of white rice. Simple stuff, just relying on an all-purpose spice mix. The result was the best meal I had tasted since entering this twisted world. Linyu practically cried eating the hot rice. Finally, real food reminding us of the past. The 3 of us sat eating inside. A warm, almost normal moment in a doomsday hellscape. I looked at Lingxi. Cooking duties are yours from now on. She gave a shy little smile. After dinner, Linyu cleaned up. Then she asked me something, her face burning bright red. Can we take a shower? 5 days without washing. I totally understood her feeling, but the water condenser wasn't built yet. I apologized, not happening tonight. Even after I finish building it, it will take time to gather water. Lingxi immediately offered up their spare materials to help with the crafting. She desperately wanted that shower too, even if she stayed quiet about it. I told them to get some rest for now. I needed to boost Linu's talent later, and I had some serious planning to do. Sitting in the driver's seat, I closed my eyes, running through every next step. 3 talent charges left for today, plus my second ability, just finished its 72-hour cooldown. I had a whole stack of blueprints to work on. The blue quality storage expansion and the alloy armor that were upgraded once. They were ready for crafting and upgrading again, plus 6 green blueprints. Vehicle glass, the engine, the workbench, the panoramic radar, the blast-resistant glass, and the blue water condenser. Add the blue monster meat to all that. The 1 unit upgraded to gold gave me 100 points in physical stats. If I used the 3 rank jump to push 1 piece to orange quality, I could not even imagine the terrifying result. Every single charge mattered. The twins sat dead silent on the couch, watching me space out without daring to interrupt. I opened my eyes. Decision made. Time to burn my 3 remaining talent charges. I asked Linu to use her buffing ability on me. Her talent twin bond boosted my abilities for 10 solid minutes. I had to move incredibly fast. First target the alloy armor. I had exactly 59 metal blocks, barely enough to craft the blue blueprint. I built it, then upgraded it, instantly jumping 1 rank into the purple super alloy fortress armor. It can resist standard firearms, heavy impact stabs, and even explosive shrapnel. I installed it immediately without a second thought. My ride was now a rolling tank. Second, the green blast-resistant glass blueprint. Upgraded 1 rank to blue, tempered blast-resistant glass that absorbs violent shocks. It handles small firearms and explosions. Crafting it needs 25 glass panes and 2 metal blocks. I will build it when materials allow. 2 upgrades down, both rising only 1 rank. Even with Linu's buff, that 30% chance for a double dump did not trigger. Frustration crept in. Final charged the water condenser. I crafted it using the blue blueprint, then used my talent straight away. But this time, something absolutely unreal happened. A full 3 rank jump. That 5% chance I started thinking was just an illusion. It finally triggered, thanks to Linu's buff. The blue quality skipped straight to orange. An atmospheric water gathering unit. I leaped out of my seat, completely stunned. 25 times I've used this talent, but this is the first ever 3-tier jump for a primary effect. A little ironic this happened with a water machine instead of a weapon, but the result was truly exceptional. The stats showed a molecular condensation tech, pulling water from the air regardless of the weather. Deduction scales up with power consumption. Plus a built-in purification system, water recycling, and 10 cubic meters of storage. The energy cost is 100%. But with my nuclear reactor, pushing unlimited power, that cost means absolutely nothing. I have endless water now. Installed the rig right away. The control screen showed a new water production button. Powered it up. Continuous production. No limits at all. I flashed the twins a huge grin. You can shower soon. The water is on the way. Lou jumped up. Really? Can we actually shower, Lin? Lin tried to be practical. The condenser only makes 10 liters a day. Isn't showering a waste? I told her to ignore the water limits and take all the time they needed. They had no clue how it worked, but my expression told them to drop the questions. Lou's eyes lit up and she sprinted to their car for clean clothes. She started calling me big brother instead of boss. 5 whole days without a single shower. Tonight the 3 of us would finally get clean. While Lin grabbed her things, Linky apologized for her sister's wild enthusiasm. I told her not to worry. As long as they cooperate, they will get much more than expected. I also shared my theory about the contract. I suspected teammates couldn't actually hurt each other under its terms. That seemed to ease her nerves. Lin returned, and I sent them both off to shower, while I sat in the driver's seat to handle some pending business. Soon the sound of running water filled the vehicle. After days of dirt and sweat and blood, they really deserved this. While I waited, Suwan sent a message. She found a green tier water condenser blueprint, hoping it could help me. I smiled. I already have one, keep it. She was stunned, asking how I got one so fast. I dodged the question and asked about her situation instead. Her reply worried me. The daytime heat spikes made her dizzy, and monsters guarded every supply crate now. She was completely alone with 0 combat talent. She was struggling. I told her to stay safe and message me instantly if things fell apart. I seriously considered inviting her to join the team, but I hadn't made that call just yet. The twins came out looking completely different, clean clothes, wet hair flushed, cheeks fresh and glowing like 2 entirely different people. They thanked me and went back to their car to spend the night. Then it was finally my turn. I traded some water bottles in the shop for clean clothes, then stepped into the shower. Hot water ran down my body for the first time in 5 whole days. Every ounce of dirt, dried blood, salt, and stress completely washed away. For just a few minutes, I wasn't a survivor in a brutal death game. I was just a normal guy taking a shower. It was the most peaceful moment I've had since arriving in this weird world. Clean clothes, clean body, a warm car, growing water reserves, and fortress-level armor covering the chassis. Sitting in the driver's seat, I watched the water tank fill up on the screen, feeling something I hadn't felt in days. Real, deep calm. At 9:18 p.m. I was ready for the moment I'd been waiting for. My talent's second ability, the 3-tier jump with a 72-hour cooldown, finally refreshed. I knew exactly what to upgrade. The 1 unit of blue tier dog meat from the boss monster I killed last night. The blue quality jumped 3 tiers and turned orange. Meat transformed into something called Tai Sui Heart. Its description nearly broke my brain. First effect 1000 physical stat points plus a passive ability called Iron Body. It massively boosts physical toughness and resistance by 1000 points. My physical stats sat at 112. This would push me past 1100. I couldn't stop myself. The moment I read those numbers, I swallowed the whole piece. The warm, gentle energy spread through my entire body, completely different from the golden meat's violent explosion. It almost felt like pure peace. My consciousness drifted, like I was watching myself from the outside. I was fully awake but couldn't control a single thing. Then my final thought hit before blacking out. Not again. The what if monsters attacked while I was unconscious? The twins were right behind me in their car. Then everything faded to pitch black. I didn't know it then, but the twins were lying in their car, talking about me at that exact moment. Lou couldn't figure out how I had so much water when the condenser only made 10 liters daily. Linky guessed it was because of my talent, but she didn't push for answers. Then Lou brought up something far more worrying. She noticed they trusted me incredibly fast, which was completely out of character for them. She suspected the life and death contract was subtly messing with their emotions. That clause about walking the same path and sharing the same heart, maybe it wasn't just poetic phrasing. Linky didn't answer. She just lay there whispering the contract's words. Later, past 11 p.m., monsters showed up on the horizon. My RV's lights were blazing. I passed out before turning them off. The twins spotted shadowy figures moving just past the light, but the creatures never actually closed in. They just paced in the distance. Their growls almost sounded terrified. Something about my vehicle or what was happening inside it held them back. I woke up at 4:09 a.m. The transformation was entirely complete. My senses hit me first. I could hear the twins breathing quietly in their truck, even through the closed doors. I saw scattered road gravel clearly from 100 meters away in near total darkness. I felt the air currents shifting around me. I opened my stats. Physical strength 1445. Mentality 26. New passive skill Iron Body. A clear warning flashed though. My mental stats were way too low to completely control my physical strength. Still, this power felt like it could destroy the world. I couldn't sit still. I stepped into the dark to test it. I crouched and pushed off hard. The asphalt completely shattered under my feet. I launched forward like a bullet, leaving a blurry after image behind. Next, I tried jumping. A single leap blasted me 20 to 30 meters into the air. From up there, I saw the terrain stretching in every direction. I kept going, sprinting and leaping through the darkness, testing the absolute limits of this new body. It felt incredible, far beyond anything I ever imagined. I only stopped when dawn finally started to break. Inside, I washed off the dust and dropped into the driver's seat, my body thrumming with massive energy. I really wanted to find a monster just to see what would happen. At this stage, I was something way beyond an ordinary human. Meanwhile, the twins were terrified all night. Early that morning, they told me dozens of monsters had circled our vehicles for hours, growling in the dark, but none actually attacked. I realized it was not just the luck pendant. My body gave off a strange aura during the transformation that kept them away. The monsters were afraid of me. At 6 a.m., a new system announcement popped up. Phase 3. Supply boxes will no longer spawn on the roads. Instead, shared public zones will randomly appear in each region, filled with far better and more abundant loot. These zones meant one thing. Meeting other players was completely unavoidable now. I gathered the twins and set some strict rules. Inside the public zones, stay glued to me. Do not wander off. No solo decisions ever. Follow my exact orders. Lynn offered to cook breakfast before we hit the road. After last night's hot meal, nobody wanted cold rations anymore. So eating noodles, I thought about our future. Endless power, infinite water, superhuman strength, and the absolute best vehicle in the world. The only thing missing was mental toughness, and maybe some answers about the true endgame of this cursed reality. Phase 3. Public zones and other players. Things were about to change drastically. We finally rolled out at 6:50 a.m. About 15 minutes down the road, Lino messaged me in absolute panic. My rank suddenly spiked from 11,240 to 21,340 over a 10,000 point jump. The reason was obvious. The purple fortress shield and the orange atmospheric water unit I installed last night. 2 orange items worth 10,000 points each, plus purple parts at 100 points apiece. My full vehicle loadout looked completely insane right now. The gold luck pendant, to blue engine, to blue bulletproof glass, to blue alloy chassis, blue blast-proof tires, to orange nuclear reactor, the purple smart fridge, the orange water collector, and the purple fortress shield. The chat was blowing up over my score. People called it a glitch, demanding instant answers. They refused to believe someone could earn that many points overnight. I skimmed the messages, then just closed the channel entirely. Absolutely nothing useful. So we drove for 3 straight hours. Then, something loomed on the horizon that literally made my breath catch. Shattered skyscrapers stabbed the sky like jagged bones. Collapsed buildings piled high, crumbling bridges, crushed cars and debris absolutely everywhere. The sprawling dead city stretching to the horizon. The system confirmed it, public zone discovered. Rusty ruined city. 10,000 square kilometers. A once thriving metropolis wiped out by disaster, now filled with massive amounts of supply boxes. The warning. Massive numbers of black fog infected detected. Extreme danger and opportunity coexist here. 10,000 square kilometers. The place was incredibly massive, larger than most cities. And these black fog infected were brand new enemies I had never faced. Seeing ruins in movies is one thing, but facing a real destroyed civilization felt completely different. The heavy silence, the massive scale of destruction, and the sheer weight of its history. The whole scene gave me absolute chills. I texted the twins, "Stay close. Do not leave my sight for any reason whatsoever." I parked on the edge of the abandoned city, staring out across the endless wasteland of ruins. Somewhere deep inside hid supply boxes, monsters, and other desperate players. The only way to find out what waited for us was to walk right in. Gear up, we are heading inside now. We entered the ruined city in tight formation. My armored car led, the twins trailing behind. Collapsed buildings loomed like mountains on both sides. The cracked roads full of potholes. The deeper we drove, the darker it got. Heavy rubble blocked the sun, trapping the entire place in a permanent, endless twilight. I spotted the tallest skyscraper still standing near the city center. But reaching that roof would let me scout the entire 10,000-kilometer zone. That became our destination. But 20 minutes into the drive, I realized the flaw. This city was massive. The resource crates could be hiding absolutely anywhere. Inside buildings, under rubble, or on upper floors. My vehicle's 10-meter radar was totally useless here. Driving around blindly would get us nowhere. Then I noticed a mostly intact building on the right, a ruined multi-story supermarket. It was worth checking on foot. I parked, called the twins, and got ready. I grabbed my Tang sword and gave them one strict rule. Stay exactly 1 meter away from me. No exceptions. We stepped through the shattered entrance into pitch blackness. The smell hit us instantly. Mildew, dust, and rot. Overturned shelves everywhere. Scattered wrappers. Everything in here was decaying. Moving deeper, the darkness grew until it was almost absolute. The twins gripped my shirt, their bodies shaking with fear. Lou whispered, "It is too dark." I kept my voice calm, "Stay close to me." My enhanced senses saw perfectly, even in this pitch black. Every single corner, shadow, and tiny detail was crystal clear. Suddenly, 3 figures lunged from behind the collapsed shelves. Humanoid but completely twisted. Gray and black skin, split mouths full of razor teeth, clawed arms. Black fog infectees. They lunged straight at me. The twins froze in terror. 3 flicks of my wrist. 3 heads hit the floor before the bodies even realized they were dead. Black blood pooled on the tiles. The whole thing took exactly 1 second. Lingxi and Linu stood there, mouths hanging open, unable to process what they just saw. I spoke without glancing at the corpses. "We are heading back." Dead end. We made our way back into the sunlight. The twins finally exhaled, their faces still completely pale. They were absolutely certain they were going to die, but instead, they barely had enough time to feel afraid. Supermarket was a bust. No resource crates, no decent loot. Small buildings just were not worth the effort to explore. I looked up at the massive skyscraper dominating the skyline. If the small spots were empty, we would head straight for the center. That tower held the real supplies. Back at the car, I told the twins to eat before we did anything else. Lin cooked us rice, meat, and eggs. Simple but very filling. Afterwards, I sent them to rest while I carefully planned our next move. But then I remembered something important. The panoramic sensor radar blueprint I had picked up earlier. The green quality version only scans 10 meters. My level 4 vehicle already does that, but only after its upgrade. Exactly what I needed for this sprawling city. I called Lou over to boost me with her skill, then got straight to work. The first talent charge. The blueprint jumped a rank to blue, pushing the detection range to 30 meters. Better but useless for a 10,000 square kilometer city. I crafted it, then slapped my second charge on the finished product. This time it skipped a rank. Blue quality straight to gold. A full-range vehicle scanning radar. Pure gold quality. Instant display of all living beings and resource crates within 1,000 meters. 50% energy drain for that distance. 1 full kilometer in every single direction. This device, absolutely nothing in this ruined city could hide. I installed it immediately. The control screen lit up with a brand new radar interface. Instantly, I spotted a yellow dot. A resource crate under 200 meters away, surrounded by something. A dozen slow-moving red dots, black fog infectees. I drove straight toward them. 3 minutes later, we hit a collapsed grocery store. Radar showed the crate inside, right alongside the infected. I told the twins to stay locked in the vehicles. Gripping my Tang sword, I walked in alone. 7 or 8 infectees rushed me the second I crossed the ruined entrance. 10 seconds later, they were all dead. I found the crate hidden under the register, grabbed it, and walked back to my car like it was a normal grocery run. Through the truck windows, I saw the twins watching with wide eyes. They sighed in deep relief when I emerged completely unharmed. Dropping back into the driver's seat, I checked the radar screen. Yellow and red dots scattered across the display in every direction. 1,000 meters of perfect awareness. This city no longer held any secrets from me. It was just past 1 in the afternoon. I originally planned to head straight for the central skyscraper, but with the gold radar covering a full kilometer in every direction, there was no rush. Better to sweep the city outskirts first, gather the resource crates, and understand the layout. After 10 minutes of driving, the radar picked up several red dots clustered together about 1 kilometer ahead. As I got closer, I heard something unexpected on the wind. Human voices mixed with terrifying monster shrieks. Other players. Finally, I pulled up about 30 meters from 2 level 2 trucks parked by the road. Both were wrecked, chipped chassis, windows entirely smashed in. Noises echoed from the second floor of a ruined mall nearby. The Lou lit up the second she saw the trucks. She figured other survivors left them. I told the twins to stay in the RV no matter what, then walked toward the mall, sword ready. I silently climbed the shattered stairs, up to the second floor. 2 men hid behind a shop counter, desperately fighting 6 black fog infected with just a metal pipe and a machete. Bleeding, pale, and gasping for air, they were fading fast. And they spotted me and screamed for help. I closed the gap instantly. 3 strikes, 6 severed heads rolling across the floor. Over before the monsters even turned. The 2 men froze, their weapons clattering loudly to the ground. Jaws dropped. They couldn't process what had just happened. I told them to stop standing around and follow me downstairs. They shook off the shock and rushed after me, endlessly grateful. They were dead meat otherwise. I led them outside to the vehicles. The twins watched from the RV windows, clearly surprised to see me walking back with complete strangers. I stopped, turning to face them. I demanded their names, how they met, and absolutely everything they knew about this ruined city. The 2 men just could not stop staring at my RV. The short guy, Wang Hao, eagerly asked where I found such an incredible rig. I shut him down instantly. None of your business. Just answer the questions. The taller guy, Lalai, was clearly smarter. He quickly took over the introductions. Former Linhai City locals, they teamed up on the road to survive. They entered this ruined zone right after the Phase 3 announcement this morning and hit trouble almost immediately. They knew absolutely nothing about the city layout or what was hidden inside. Twins stepped out of the RV. Wang Hao stared, muttering about how gorgeous they were. Liu frowned, muttering that he was being extremely rude. Lin just tugged her sister's arm to quiet her down. Getting absolutely zero useful intel from these guys, I turned to leave. We're leaving, take care. Panicking, Wang Hao rushed forward and begged to join us. The city was too dangerous to survive alone. They promised to carry supplies, guard the cars, or anything else. Dulai backed him up, but trailed off, remembering how I slaughtered 6 infected in a split second. I replied coldly no. We don't need help. Wang Hao grew desperate. How can you act like this? We're all human, but we must stick together. Even you can't handle everything alone. I turned to look at him. Just one freezing glare. His body completely locked up, the words dying in his throat. Pure terror instantly wiped the frustration off his face. Lalai grabbed his friend, apologizing endlessly. I walked back to the RV without another word. The twins followed me, and we drove off. Those men were not bad, just desperate and weak. I cannot carry dead weight. Anyone joining my squad has to offer real value. Talents, skills, or actual resources. The random survivors wielding metal pipes with zero useful abilities would only slow me down and create unnecessary risks. In this game, blind empathy equals death. We spent the afternoon scanning the city outskirts using radar. By 6 p.m. we had scooped up 10 extra supply crates. We only encountered a few scattered monsters and 0 other players. I parked for the night in a safe open area. When the twins stepped inside, they were drenched in sweat and visibly suffering. Lou said the heat was absolutely unbearable, even with their truck's AC running. Lin added that since 3 p.m., just breathing inside their vehicle had become painful. I checked the dashboard temperature. It read 50 degrees, even though the sun had already gone down. This was not normal. Temps usually drop after dark, but here they kept rising. Lou mentioned the regional chat was packed with players fleeing the city. The zone's heat was much higher than outside. Most survivors wouldn't last long here. Their bodies and vehicles simply couldn't handle it. I thought it over. Thanks to my 1,445 physical stats, the heat didn't faze me. My purple RV's nuclear AC kept the inside perfectly cold. The twins were normal humans inside a basic level 2 truck. The rising overnight heat would put them in real danger. The choice was easy: you sleep in the RV tonight, I'll take the sofa. You take the bed. Lin nearly hit the ceiling with pure excitement. After days on rock-hard truck seats, a real bed was a dream. Lin blushed, hesitating. Won't this bother you? But Liu just dragged her toward the bedroom before she could object further. I smiled. We are teammates. No problem. As they excitedly explored the bedroom, I focused on the pile of unopened supply crates. 10 crates from today's sweep, plus the one we had already snagged earlier. Thanks to Lin Shi's loot-boosting talent, tonight's haul could be massive. But one question kept bothering me. Why was this ruined city so much hotter than the outside? So were the ruins trapping the heat, or was something much worse hiding out there? If temperatures kept rising like this, how long before my vehicle systems completely collapsed? I lined up all 11 supply boxes across the sofa. This ruined city offered way more loot boxes than the open highway. The debris and collapsed buildings hadn't forced me to crawl at a snail's pace. I could have found 4 or 5 times this amount. Silver box, 2 iron, 6 bronze, and 2 normal. I told Lino to buff her sister. Lynchy handled the 3 top-tier crates while I cracked the rest. My 8 bronze and normal boxes dropped solid basics. 31 metal blocks, 33 glass, 26 rubber, 15 plastic, 8 electronic components, to 110 fuel units, plus random food, to bread, water, instant noodles, milk, to canned meat, potatoes, and some fresh tomatoes. Lynchy's 2 iron crates yielded 30 metal blocks, 18 rubber, 15 electronics, 40 fuel units, some flour, and boxed wine. Then came the silver box, tonight's real star. The Lynchy popped it open and her eyes instantly lit up. 30 electronics, 100 fuel units, 10 kilograms of rice, plus a blue tier blueprint. A protective coating. Applying this to the vehicle's surface heavily boosts defense against impacts and blocks corrosion. There's 5 glass and 5 rubber. Simple materials for a highly useful upgrade. I systematically sorted everything. The raw materials into storage, and food straight into the fridge. Staring at this organized stash, a rare relief washed over me. Resources were finally stacking up instead of constantly draining. I asked the twins if they had used their daily trades yet. They hadn't. I told them to scan the exchange board for lifestyle upgrades. We had plenty of water for bartering now, and our standard of living desperately needed a boost. Lino jumped on the task with intense enthusiasm. She explained that cooking ingredients were practically worthless in the market. Nobody had kitchens, time to cook, or the means to start a fire in 50-degree heat. Survivors were dumping food for dirt cheap. Perfect for us. We had a fully equipped kitchen, an expert chef in Lynchy, and endless water and power. I let them handle the bartering and took the driver's seat to think. 3 talent charges remained for today. 11 boxes of fresh materials and blueprints. Every decision had to maximize the return, so I decided to dump all 3 talent charges into vehicle upgrades. Today my physical stats already reached 1,445. My mental stats couldn't keep up, so boosting physical strength further was basically useless. Lino had one final support charge. I had her activate it, then moved fast. First, I crafted the blue tier blast-proof glass and upgraded it. It instantly jumped to purple tier, to bulletproof crystal glass. It could withstand medium firearms, high-speed shrapnel, and violent explosions. I installed it right away, finally shielding my vehicle's biggest weak point. Second, I upgraded the blue protective coating blueprint, bumping it to a purple tier stealth and anti-corrosion composite paint. It absorbed radar waves, masked heat signatures, and drop detection risks, alongside its base defense. The crafting materials included something I had never seen before. 5 units of primitive quantum matter. I had no idea what that was or where to find it. I set it aside. My third goal was expanding storage. I crafted the blue blueprint and activated it immediately. No physical item appeared. My inventory simply expanded by 20 extra slots. I sat there completely confused. I had planned to upgrade the final product, but there was no physical item to actually upgrade. With only 1 talent charge left and Lino's buff wearing off, I grabbed the green tier engine blueprint from the supply station and upgraded it instantly. It jumped 1 rank into a blue tier turbo pulse engine. Speed 50, but fuel consumption increased by 20%. Theoretically better than my current blue engine, but the upgrade wasn't massive enough to bother installing it right now. I would try upgrading it again tomorrow. Meanwhile, Lino was incredibly busy on the trade board. In a world without kitchens, cooking ingredients hold 0 value. She was trading water for all kinds of food and household items at insanely cheap prices. My vehicle's current gear was stacking up impressively. A gold luck pendant, a gold full field radar, 2 orange items, a nuclear reactor and water collector, and 3 purple. A glass fridge and fortress armor, plus a blue engine frame and tires. But one thing bugged me when swapping the old glass for the purple version. The system didn't return the old parts. All those replaced parts over the past few days just vanished completely. It was a total waste, but not worth stressing over right now. Then Lino called me for dinner. Lynchy had whipped up an absolute feast using those fresh ingredients. I pushed the minor frustration aside and went straight to eat. Tomorrow would bring 5 fresh talent charges, and this ruined city still hid hundreds of waiting boxes. Dinner was simple but warm. Tomato eggs, to shredded potatoes, to roast meat, to bowl of rice. I sat watching the twins eat in absolute silence. For a weird second, it felt like a totally normal evening back in the real world. Then Lynchy spoke up. The fridge was almost out of meat. The trade channels were flooded with veggies and spices. Meat was practically extinct. Then it hit me. I had 28 units of blue dog meat stashed in my bracelet, completely forgotten in the chaos of system upgrades. Lin Yu complained about the strict 3 daily trades limit. But Lin Shi simply pointed out that without limits, the rich would just hoard everything. That casual comment actually made me pause. He was right. It explained a core game design choice I never considered. I opened the leaderboards out of pure curiosity. My score was 22,430. Second place? 173. The top 10 players had all reached level 3 vehicles by now, but the gap between us remained astronomical. I turned, asking the twins for their stats. They started with 6 physical strength and 14 mental. With the team contract's 30% boost, they hit 7 physical and 18 mental. Still weak by any standard. Lin Yu asked about my physical strength, guessing 20, calling me an absolute monster. And Ji scolded her sister for being rude. I just stared at them. Starting today, you both eat 1 unit of blue monster meat daily. 0 exceptions. Every single unit permanently boosts your physical strength by 1 point. Lin Ji tried refusing instantly. She said it was too precious, urging me to keep it. Lin Yu groaned about being stuffed, completely sick of grilled protein. I replied coldly that the meat didn't benefit me anymore anyway. Just, you are eating it, whether you want to or not. I shoved the remaining 28 units in the fridge, giving them until midnight to finish. Lin Ji agreed quietly. Lin Yu groaned, but her sister quickly shushed her. You will get used to it. Stronger teammates keep everyone alive. And keeping my teammates alive meant my main source of blueprints and talent boosters survived. It wasn't kindness, it was pure strategy. I leaned back in the driver's seat, almost 8 p.m., pitch black outside, then a quiet anxiety settled in. Usually, Su Wanwan messaged me right about now. Every single evening without fail, checking in, sharing her daily blueprints, asking if I needed anything. Tonight, nothing. Not one message. I sat in the driver's seat, completely unable to shake off this growing unease. I finally messaged Su Wanwan. Are you okay? Just tell me if something is wrong. I can help. While nervously waiting for a reply, I thought about the thing I kept putting off. I had wanted to invite her to the team for days. Her daily blueprint talent was just too valuable to lose. And now, with the upgraded life and death contract, the risk was practically zero. The contract tied everyone's interests together. I had already seen it build genuine trust. Thus with the twins, an entire hour dragged by. Behind me, Lin Shi and Lin Yu struggled to finish their mandatory blue dog meat, totally bloated. Lin Yu kept complaining, practically praying she'd never see meat ever again. Lin Shi just patiently pushed her to keep chewing. Then Su Wanwan's message finally arrived, and my heart just completely sank. Can you save me? I am terrified. Monsters everywhere. My truck is collapsing. They keep smashing the doors and I can't escape. I don't know how much longer it will hold. I replied instantly, do you trust me? Say yes, and I pull you out right now. Her answer flashed back instantly. I trust you, whatever it takes. Please just get me out of here. Doors are breaking. Without any hesitation, I opened the life and death contract interface and added Su Wanwan. She accepted immediately, so I triggered the teleportation. I stepped outside, 10 meters away from my RV. The battered level 2 truck materialized out of thin air. Scratched up, shattered windows, doors violently caved in. The black monster blood stained the entire chassis. It took a brutal beating. I called out to Su Wanwan, not loud but steady. Inside, a girl sat curled on the driver's seat, hugging her knees, shaking. The monster noises had suddenly vanished. The scorching heat of the ruined city replaced the freezing terror that gripped her chest. She looked up through the shattered glass, spotting me, waiting outside. She practically burst out of the truck, tears streaming down her face, sprinting straight into my chest, sobbing uncontrollably. Trembling, she choked out how terrified she was. She truly thought she would die tonight, but she was finally safe. My fourth teammate, the blueprint talent I protected from afar, was finally right beside me. Su Wanwan simply refused to let go. Shaking, crying, completely shattered, I ordered her inside. It was 50 degrees outside, and she was covered in sweat and monster blood. She couldn't stay outside. She barely registered my words, so I scooped her up and carried her directly into the RV. Lin Shi and Lin Yu were sitting inside. They froze completely, watching me walk in carrying a sobbing, disheveled girl. Lin Yu gasped, demanding to know where I found such a pretty girl. Lin Shi grabbed her sister's arm, politely asking if she was my girlfriend. I simply shook my head. Dead silence filled the RV, broken only by Su Wanwan's muffled sobbing. Shred clothes, soaked in dust and black monster blood. She looked absolutely horrific, Lin. Lin gently suggested getting her cleaned up. She softly told Chuanwan to come wash her face, that she was safe here. I backed her up instantly. It is all over now. No one will hurt you again. Chuanwan finally calmed down enough to let go of me. Lu grabbed her hand and dragged her toward the bathroom. She chattered endlessly about warm baths, saying she had tons of outfits to try on. She claimed she would look amazing in a school uniform with those long legs. While they washed up, I asked Lin Chi to prep some blue tier meat. Chuan was not physically hurt, just completely terrified. Food and some solid rest would easily fix that. About an hour later, the bathroom door opened. Lu led Xuanwan out, and I finally got a proper look at her. She was roughly the same age as the twins' delicate features, pale skin. Completely clean now, wearing a pleated school skirt Lin had carefully picked out. She looked like a completely different person from that terrified broken girl I carried inside. Lin brought over a plate of roast meat and sat Xuanwan on the sofa. She told her to eat up, it would permanently boost her physical stats. Xuanwan regained some composure. She looked at me with red, puffy eyes and quietly apologized for causing so much trouble. She said she had been absolutely terrified. I told her not to worry at all, eat first, talk later. She nodded, taking tiny bites. I thought the crisis was finally over. Then her shoulders started shaking again. Tears streamed down her cheeks, breaking down again in seconds. Mildly panicked, I asked what was wrong, telling her she was safe now. Lin cut me off. He rushed over to comfort her. It is okay, Wu is incredibly strong, nothing can hurt you. Xuanwan wiped her eyes, voice breaking through the sobs. She muttered that she was perfectly fine, not scared, just really happy. I honestly had no idea what to say to that. But once Xuanwan polished off her food and some color returned to her face, I asked what exactly happened out there. She was exploring another public zone alone when 3 players approached, suggesting they team up for safety. She agreed on the spot. Fighting monsters solo was brutal. Things went smoothly at first, finding supply crates together all through the afternoon. Around 4 p.m. the heat became completely unbearable, so they decided to leave the city. That was when everything changed. So while dividing the loot, the 3 guys turned on her. They claimed she was just a girl with 0 combat skills, meaning she deserved way less. They took almost everything, leaving her actual crumbs. She was furious, but numbers always win, and it was 3 against 1. She swallowed her anger silently and accepted reality. Then right at 7 p.m., they started pounding on her truck door, claiming they needed to discuss something important. Sensing danger, she refused to open up, so they instantly began attacking her vehicle without mercy. She gunned the engine and ran. They chased her for 30 minutes until the growing swarm of local monsters finally scared them into falling back. The monsters drawn by the chase surrounded her instead. Her truck stalled out completely, and the creatures started slamming into the metal like maniacs. Trapped inside and absolutely terrified, she was certain she would die, right until my message popped up. Lin was absolutely furious. She called those bastards disgusting. She helped find the supplies, but they took everything just because she was a girl. She urged me to teach them a harsh lesson next time we crossed paths. Lin brought Xuanwan some warm water, gently comforting her. I stepped in, telling everyone not to act surprised by today. Without laws or consequences, people will do absolutely anything to serve themselves, and this is just the beginning. Once completely calm, Xuanwan finally noticed the surroundings, the spacious RV, the AC, the kitchen, and the fridge. Her eyes went wide. She whispered that this was a real motorhome, and she had never seen anyone even mention having one. She looked curiously at the twins. Lu immediately started joking around, heavily implying that I had been hiding my true strength from her. Lin formally introduced everyone, explaining they were all teammates bound by the exact same contract. Xuanwan looked at me differently this time. Pure gratitude, awe, and relief. She sincerely thanked everyone, admitting she would have died tonight without them. I told her she was part of the team now, no more thanks needed. Lu jumped up excitedly, grabbing Xuanwan by the arm in agreement. She cheered that we were all together now. For the first time all day, Xuanwan finally smiled. A genuine, heartfelt smile. In this brutal world, she was no longer alone. Honestly, neither were we. I wanted to ask Xuanwan about her plans, but she was entirely exhausted. It could wait. I told her to rest, letting Lin Chi take care of her. The 3 girls shared the bedroom. Lu was absolutely thrilled about the bed, pulling Xuanwan along while chattering excitedly. I crashed on the sofa, mapping out tomorrow's route. The ruined city was way bigger than I originally thought. And that confrontation Xuanwan described. Our 3 guys turned on her. That was just a teaser trailer. More players are hitting public zones, making conflict inevitable. Still, the night passed peacefully. No attacks, 0 disturbances. I woke up at 6 a.m. The temperature outside was 40 degrees lower than yesterday's insane peak of 50. A truly bizarre pattern. Is the city heat tied to the time, or does the system just control exploration windows? I could not figure it out, so I brushed it off. The girls emerged from the bedroom before I even knocked. Lin Shi started prepping breakfast. Egg and veggie noodles made from the ingredients Lin Yue traded for yesterday. We ate together, 4 steaming bowls of noodle soup. Then I brought up what I had been thinking about for days. I asked Xuanwan if her talent was tied to her vehicle level. She stopped eating. She thought it depended on both, but wasn't entirely sure. Lin Wei cut me off right there. She guessed I wanted Xuanwan in my vehicle. I froze. How did she know? Apparently those 2 talked about absolutely everything last night. Lin Yue looked pretty proud of herself. Meanwhile, Lin Ji quietly chimed in, saying I should let her join. Activating her talent inside a level 4 vehicle would make the blueprints way better. I hesitated a bit. I was just worried her talent might stay locked to her old vehicle level instead of adapting. Lin Yue looked at me like I was an idiot. She pointed out you can just switch vehicles. Xuanwan could ditch hers and share mine. People in the regional chat were doing it constantly. Lin Ji backed her up. Players could absolutely ditch their rides and join someone else. It was common knowledge in the regional chat. Clearly, I hadn't been paying close enough attention. That cleared up, I looked right at Su Wanwan. The choice was hers, zero pressure. Even if she refused, she was still essential to the team. She didn't hesitate for a second. She agreed instantly, terrified of being out there completely alone again. Lin Yue clapped her hands in pure excitement. The new roommate, finally someone she could talk to. Just like that, my team was fully formed. 4 members, each bringing something crucial to the table. My combat power and legendary talent, Lin Yue's stat boosts, and Shi's insane loot drops, and Swanwan's daily blueprint crafting, which my level 4 vehicle just massively supercharged. It was finally time to see what this crazy setup could actually do. Suddenly, Su Wanwan bolted outside. Before I could even ask why, she rushed back in panting. In her hands was a glowing blue orb of vehicle core. She dismantled her whole truck on the spot. Handing it over, she told me she was all in. She just desperately wished she hadn't wasted yesterday's blueprints upgrading her own ride. All those resources were totally gone now. I took the core, telling her not to sweat it. The gear didn't matter. She did. Honestly, her talent was the single most valuable asset this entire team had. But looking at them, Lin Yue grinning, Lin Shi blushing, and Su Wanwan tearing up, I realized they took that a completely different way. And I moved on to the temperature issue. It was already 40 degrees Celsius outside at dawn. If it followed yesterday's pattern, it would hit 50 by the afternoon. Was the system deliberately trying to restrict our exploration time? Lin Yue found the answer in chat. Players figured the city center held high-tier supply drops, and this extreme heat was the system's way to lock them down. The bigger reward meant bigger risk. That settled it. We were heading straight for the center today. That massive skyscraper. Everyone instantly agreed, and we hit the road in our 2 rides. Duanwan was in my vehicle now, while the twins followed behind in their truck. We stuck to yesterday's routine. The radar spotted a drop. I stopped, killed the monsters, grabbed the loot. Then we kept moving. By noon, that central tower was dead ahead. But then, Su Wanwan relayed an urgent message from the twins. The temperature was skyrocketing. The deeper we pushed into the city, the hotter it got. Outside readings hit 50 degrees Celsius at barely noon. Lin Yue stormed in panicking. Her truck's AC was blasting at max power, but the cabin was already 36 degrees and climbing fast. Lin Ji followed, apologizing for holding us up. I firmly reminded her we were a team, and to never say that again. Their level 2 truck just couldn't handle the heat. My nuclear-powered purple AC kept us perfectly chilled, but their basic rig was becoming a death trap. I had to figure something out fast. If evening hit, the city center would be completely impossible for them to survive. I told Lin Ji to prep lunch while I brainstormed a fix. Over lunch, everyone just stared at the 50-degree reading on the monitor. The twins' truck had completely hit its absolute limit. Pushing further meant facing brutal temperatures. So, I made the call. The twins would stash their truck in an abandoned shop and ride with us in the RV. They all agreed. The twins parked and carefully camouflaged their ride, then quickly boarded mine. So we drove straight for that massive skyscraper. The temperature just kept climbing 50, 51, 52 degrees. Around 1,000 meters out, the radar suddenly lit up like a Christmas tree. Dozens of red dots swarmed the tower, guarding one glowing yellow dot dead center. Supply crates spawned right inside the lobby. Up close, the skyscraper looked absolutely massive. Taller than anything I'd ever seen, just piercing the sky. Covered in dust and cracks, yet still totally incredible. The girls were completely speechless. Outside, it was 55 degrees. Anyone normal would collapse from heat stroke in under 30 minutes. I told the 3 of them to lock themselves inside. I warned them not to step out, no matter what they heard out there. Fenwan grabbed my arm. She was anxious. Way too many monsters. Are you sure about going in alone? Lu patted her shoulder. Relax. She isn't human at all. Lin just looked at me calmly. Be careful. If things get too dangerous, fall back immediately. I gripped the tang blade and stepped right into that hell. The air outside was so scorching it shimmered and twisted from the heat. I felt nothing. Inside the tower was pitch black, stinking of rot. The lobby was crawling with black fog, infected dozens of them. Dead center stood a massive infected, nearly 2 meters tall. This monster's arms were thicker than a normal guy's thighs. Terrifying pressure rolled off it like a mini-boss. Then I felt something I had missed. Excitement. In my recent fights had all been boring. One swing, enemy down, move on. Finally something appeared that might force me to try. 3 minutes. That was it, and I was holding back too. Going all out would have ended it much faster. None of them touched me even once. When the giant infected dropped, something weird appeared by its corpse. A supply box unlike anything I had ever seen. Glowing golden, covered in complex carvings. I touched it, and the name instantly flashed in my mind. Gift to the Brave. I headed back with the golden box. Lin ran up immediately, stammering about my insane speed before fumbling her explanation. Then Lin just covered her sister's mouth and apologized for her. So even Xuanwan couldn't suppress a laugh. The tension completely vanished from the cabin. I set the Gift of the Brave on the coffee table. But I was clear we only open it tonight in safety. Lu frowned but agreed, sitting by the table staring like a kid expecting a birthday gift. Lin Chi offered to drive so I could rest. Dongwan watched the radar from the front seat. I just lay on the sofa and closed my eyes. About an hour later, Xuanwan spotted 6 red dots moving in a regular pattern on the radar, probably players, not monsters. Right then, a supply box popped up on screen 500 meters from those dots. I told Lin Chi to head for it and not avoid them. We don't start trouble, but we don't run either. We reached the box first. It sat in front of an abandoned store, 0 monsters around. I grabbed it and started back. Then 4 small trucks stopped and 6 people got out. 3 men, 3 women, exhausted and covered in dust. They stared at my car like they had just seen a spaceship. The tall, skinny guy asked if I was alone and how I got the car. He wanted to team up. They claimed all 6 had very strong talents. A shorter, heavier guy pushed the same idea. He asked me to explore the center with them, saying it would be easier together. I rejected their offer and gave them honest advice. Don't go deeper into the city center. The temperature there is extremely high. The normal people won't survive. I returned to my car and drove away. But I could feel them gathering behind me, whispering together. I knew exactly what they were discussing. They realized this vehicle might belong to the #1 ranked player in the world. Some wanted to tail me. That heavy guy was already plotting to negotiate taking the car for himself, as if 6 random strangers had any real leverage against me. The one woman had enough brains to say this was impossible, but the whole group decided to track us anyway. Humans are always the most random variable in any survival game. The strangers tailed us for hours, their dots clearly tracking us on radar. I just ignored them. By 5 p.m., the heat finally broke them. Their red dots turned around, rushing toward the city exit to escape. Lin sighed in deep relief. They are finally gone like annoying shadows. Then by 6 p.m., I stopped immediately for the night. Tomorrow we will retrieve the twins' hidden truck outside, then continue scanning all the outer city zones. The moment everyone agreed, a bright flash hit the coffee table. A pale teal box just materialized out of thin air. Vu jumped back in total surprise. Xuanwan's face flushed red as she explained it. Her talent had activated. This was her daily blueprint box. It appearing inside my level 4 car was exactly what I wanted. Her talent was now directly linked to my vehicle. Lin parked in a hidden corner near a ruined office building. Then she started cooking dinner for everyone. After that, I set the entire day's loot on the table. Gift of the Brave box, 2 silver, 8 iron, 15 bronze, and 3 normal boxes. Plus Xuanwan's talent box. I tried touching her talent box first, but an unseen force pushed my hand away. Only Xuanwan could open it. I asked Lu to try her support effect on Xuanwan before opening it, but that didn't work either. The talent box only responds to Xuanwan's talent level and the car's level. External boosts never affect it. She opened it. A blue-grade protective coating blueprint. Xuanwan's face lit up with joy, then fell instantly seeing our cold reactions. We already had that blueprint. Lin quickly reassured her it was not her fault at all. Lin continued comforting her gently. Meanwhile, I told her that duplicate copies still hold commercial trading value. She handed me the blueprint, still looking slightly disappointed. But the most important discovery was just confirmed. Her talent was now producing blue-grade blueprints, or higher to match my level 4 car. Inside her old level 2 truck, it only made green blueprints. The upgrade worked perfectly. Tomorrow's blueprint could be entirely new. And with that massive pile of unopened crates sitting there, including the Golden Brave's gift. Tonight's real unboxing session had just started. I didn't waste a single second. I dragged 26 crates over and cracked them all at once, saving the silver and golden ones for last. Honestly, the results were incredibly disappointing. Lots of basic materials. 60 fuel, 86 metal, 32 plastic, 36 rubber, 48 glass, and 16 electronic components. Thus assorted food and daily supplies. Not one single blueprint, not even low-tier gear. Linu sneered, "You never hold back. The luck is awful. All those boxes, nothing useful. Let me open them next time," but Xuanwan quickly defended me. Actually, this is pretty solid. When I open crates, I usually get 2 or 3 items. The Wu gets 3 or 4. This is way above average. I was shocked. I'd never compared my loot before. I assumed everyone got similar drops. Now I realized how much that golden luck necklace actually helped. It'd been silently boosting every single box since day 1. I completely took it for granted. 3 crates left, 2 silver, 1 Brave's gift. Everyone looked right at Lin Ji. I said, "Your turn now." She looked incredibly nervous. Her talent was a chance boost, no guarantees. Delinu held her hand, activating the boost so she wouldn't disappoint. We told her to just relax. Whatever drops is a bonus. She stepped up, opening the silver crates first. The metal electronics, 100 fuel, plus 2 massive drops of blue energy core and a soul essence seed. The description made everyone lean closer. A special crop containing gentle life energy. Its sweet fruit permanently boosts physical stats when eaten. 0 side effects. It just needs a life energy environment to grow. Matures in 72 hours. Xuanwan was stunned, thought only monster meat boosted stats. I praised this discovery to keep Lin Ji confident. Honestly, a blueprint would be more useful. Still, renewable stat fruit is huge for the whole team. Lin Ji relaxed, finally smiling. She quietly handed me the seed, then turned to the final box, the Golden Brave's gift, the massive loot from the Central Tower boss. Everyone held their breath. Lin Ji gently touched it. The golden box burst open, glowing bright. Li Nu leaned in, but Lin Ji checked with me first, waiting for a nod before revealing the 4 items. Every single one was completely exceptional. Genetic Enhancement Liquid, a special single-use item that permanently adds 20 physical stat points. The Vehicle Parts Selection Voucher, letting me pick one of 3 blue-quality components. Turbo Engine, Anti-Explosion Glass or Full Frame, plus a purple M249 machine gun with 2,000 bullets. A real vehicle-mounted weapon, the very first one I'd ever seen. And a silver talent fragment, needing 10 to craft a silver upgrade stone. Li Nu nearly screamed. She'd only ever heard of purple gear in chat. She'd never seen one. Xuanwan was just as amazed by the talent fragment. It was apparently a hot commodity everyone wanted. I highly praised Lin Ji's contribution. Her talent, stacked with Lin Nu's boost, clearly pushed this loot way beyond my solo luck. Lin Ji blushed, handing me everything. She trusted my judgment. I sent her and Xuanwan to rest, keeping Li Nu for her boost. And I planned my 5 talent charges for today. Priority 1, the M249, my first vehicle weapon. Upgrading it makes the motorhome a rolling fortress. Second, yesterday's turbo engine blueprint. So being blue quality already, I'll craft it then upgrade the product. Third, the selection voucher. I'll choose the full coverage frame to boost the motorhome's structural defense, leaving the tires as our last blue tier weak point. Fourth and fifth, the green vehicle workbench blueprint I'd saved since chapter 40. Potential is unknown, but I feel it'll be important. Plan set. I checked Li Nu, waiting patiently. Ready. Li Nu triggered her boost and I began. First, the M249. My talent triggered a massive 2-tier jump purple to orange. The weapon became a 30mm chain autocannon. The roof panel slid open and a retractable metal mount rose up. Contains stats. Fires armor-piercing incendiaries and high-explosive grenades. Ammo box holds 120 rounds, 60 each. The remote or manual operation. Effective range is 2,500 meters ground, 3,000 aerial. Max range 10,000 meters. Ammo regenerates daily. System text caliber is justice. Firepower equals confidence. Truth only lives inside a cannon's blast radius. It brings a -20 speed penalty and 100% energy drain. So with my nuclear reactor running, energy costs meant nothing. Li Nu's jaw practically hit the floor, watching that weapon slide right out of the ceiling. Everyone just stared. I told them to relax, just a basic vehicle weapon. Second, I crafted the turbo pulse engine and immediately upgraded it. Jumped a rank to a purple charged turbo engine. Speed 60, packing a massive power boost for steep hills and brutal terrain. Installed that third. Then I picked the full coverage frame voucher and upgraded it. Jumped to a purple heavy core armor frame. Built to resist high-speed crashes and medium explosions. Installation complete. The cabin walls darkened from that boost. I spent my 4th and 5th charges right on the vehicle workbench. The first tap bumped a green blueprint to blue. I crafted it instantly, then slammed the final charge straight into the finished product. Double rank jump blue to gold. It turned into a fully automated smart command center. It linked 4 core systems: autonomous driving, full vehicle monitoring, hardware management, and weapon coordination. My RV had its own brain now. 2 double rank jumps in a single day. I could barely keep my excitement in check. Just the machine gun and command center alone turned this motorhome into an absolute war machine. I checked the dash panel top speed, 240 kilometers an hour. The gear list now held 3 orange items, 2 gold, 5 purple, and 1 blue. My rating skyrocketed from 22,430 to 33,610. The chat was definitely going to explode again, but I honestly did not care. I was staring at a rig that could outrun, outgun, and outlast absolutely anything out here.